Of me to be optimistic about an Alucard, but hey, putting Brave Smite on it and been building it semi-tank might be good. But now in mid, JP and Sanji putting PX7 and Kid X down to, well, a third of their health. Wow, that's a double TKO.
I mean, Falcon Esports, they got to be real aggressive in the earlier stages. I mean, Royal Milk is not going to win this lane very easily, and for the most part of it, when it comes down to team fights, the only way I can see it happening is if the rest of the lanes are doing so well that Royal Milk can be the big cleanup rather than Dax.
All right, so if you're saying the rest of the other lanes, mid and gold, not looking good, because look, Benny's getting bullied out. Here we go, 2v1 up top. Oh, it's easy. Forcing out a vengeance from Royal Milk, and that's going to be it, first blood.
Instantly finding that chink in the armor and punishing it early. Like Wolf mentioned, level 3, find that instant gank, and Liquid Echo are on the board.
So far, again, Sanford is incentivized to go aggressive, builds the casual Fury Hammer, and then can go ham from here. Like, you can just start just greeting out. Because again, what's Alucard gonna do?
I mean, that's true, and he will need some time to scale, right? Ideally, he would like to snowball, but looking at the items and as well as the emblem build so far, like, I'm mostly curious about the duality of the Bennies of the Bennyverse. Benny QT up against Benny on Harith as of right now. The Azure Blade instantly purchased, and I think this, I mean, both sides want to win their lane. It's not just about hyper farming.
Yeah, but the only difference is Benny from Myanmar has to actually commit the fights. Benny Cutie from the Philippines can actually just look for the fight, send the SOD, and then join in.
For now, they're going to take their time, and here's the first turtle dance of this game. Let's see how they approach it, because again, I'm not seeing level 4s on supports just yet.
Yeah, oddly enough, you mentioned the turtle dance, which is more of the dance we're seeing, less of the Lord dance, because those almost immediately turn into turns. They almost just always collapse into a team fight, but the turtle dance, look at this, it's a thing of beauty. Coming in, Sanford forcing PX7 back into that bush, gets frozen a wee bit. Royal Milk taking control of that northern bush. Carl Easy clean secure.
Yeah, this is the scary part. Now that JP is already level 4, at any point of time, he can initiate a fight that Liquid Echo can instantly capitalize on, and I think it might be towards this top side of the map. Oh man, Royal Milk, he's going to be taking a beating here. Oh wait, no, they transfer to the opposite side. They deny it.
Yep, why walk? That's what's so scary about Liquid Echo here. They can basically call fights wherever, whenever, and given that they have a 1,000 gold lead with the very little effort they're putting in, it's dangerous. PX7 put down half health, in goes Dax. JP from the side lanes, jumping in the shortcut. Down goes Kid X, one more follows, Dax falls.
An instant response from Liquid Echo. And I was already curious whether Sanji really wanted to get the Metamorphosis from Roger, of all people, with the IMU, right? Because there's so many other valuable ults, but he held onto it. You can see that he's utilizing the iframes. Keep in mind, when you use IMU, if there's the transform subtext underneath that ult, you get all the other abilities.
Yep, and he joined the fight as if he was Dax, as if he was the Roger, and that just pushes forward Liquid Echo's momentum even more. Now 2K ahead of their opponents. There's a interesting engage up here on Kid X. It's so tough being Kid X, man. Of everyone, I think, so far, he might be the only one who's actually comfortable. Like, he's the only one who can say, all right, I'm going to play defensive or offensive. When you say so, everyone else has to react to Liquid Echo.
I think... Oh, man. I think it's going to be a little difficult here, but let's see what's happening across the map.
All right. So far, up top, Royal Milk is just holding his own. And again, Kid X is getting pushed out of his comfort compared to JP, right? But by JP, who is just doing everything he can to make this gap even larger. Now a level ahead, half an XP bar. Sanji not even leaving this lane, man. Picking up that enchanted talisman. And confirmed, Sanford indeed does greed out. First build in the Hunter Strike as the turtle spawns.
Now, for anybody out there who's wondering, man, is Falcon Esports really running with Royal Milk on this Alucard? To clear up confusion here, after investigation, and thankfully with Zipper in my ear telling me this, it is confirmed that FCon had made a human error and picked Alucard, so therefore they will continue the game with Alucard. And yeah, that's just the way it is.
Uh-oh, Kid X with the I'm Offended. The fight continues. They take down Carl Teasy. A 3v1 gank squad. Down bottom, not much Benny can do. Not at least at 5 minutes. This does open up a big objective for the Burmese squad. Here's your and then we go back into the matchup up top. Whoa! Just as we resumed That was PX7 taken down. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, his flicker isn't back up, unfortunately. He lost it pretty early on, but now, oh!
The shortcut. JP says, let's go. Carlteasy continues to wail away at the turtle, respawned during the replay, and now Kid X, he can only hope and wish. Now he's gonna get punished. There's the knockup. Carlteasy gets his sweet, sweet revenge.
The beauty of this, of all of this, is the fact that Falcon Esports are compensating a lot to make sure that they can actually make it to the later stages of the game where you actually feel relevancy. And surprisingly enough, Royal Milk is the one who breaks the tower on the top side of the map.
All right, at least that is one thing that the Alucard has, as much as it pains me to say, he's very sustainable. Even with the Braves line, again, we alluded to this earlier on, compared to Lapu-Lapu who has to actually land the skills and be active in team fights with the bravest fighter and his iframes and damage reduction, Royal Milk can just plant himself into the lane and do as he just did, take tier 1 up top, allowing for the rest of the map to open up for Falcon Esports.
And I think that Falcon Esports, I think this is a great way to kind of handle the situation despite the human error. But PX7, he's got to make sure that he minimizes his deaths, and most importantly, the battle spells need to be available.
Uh-oh, down bottom, I'm offended. A stolen ult from Sanji. Benny taken down, and they're not going to greed out. They're going to force back Falcon Esports as they penetrate into this. Oh, no waves.
Great clear coming in from Benny, right? At least he knew, if I'm going to die, I'm not going to lose my battle spell. They're definitely going to die me if this wave is here and take my tier 1. I might as well die, clear the wave, and guarantee that I can walk back in.
That's long-term planning from Benny, one of the more veteran members of Falcon Esports. Dax spots Carlteasy there. Carlteasy obliges. Let's go. Dax just playing footsies.
Yeah, they got to be really careful here. And I think what Liquid Echo is really good at is following up upon each other. Because I'm not going to lie, it's pretty difficult to land the chains sometimes, unless it's the enhanced chains. That's a different story. But when you do land that singular chain, the follow-up from the rest of Liquid Echo, it's overwhelming. Could this be a pick here? Could Dax be looking to bait something out? Because a lot of pressure on the bottom side of the map.
If anything, Dax is one of the few who can actually do that. Low committal, can actually just like and pounce out of danger situations. Kid X forcing a fight here. Benny Q, oh, nope. Benny at that. Benny Q just switches it up. Suddenly in the top lane, taking down Royal Milk 1v1. And now the turtle, the last one on the map, secured here by Liquid Echo, as Falcon Esports just stays to their own side.
This game is so fast-paced. Like, both sides are struggling for tempo in their own way. Liquid Echo looking for more structures on the map, while Falcon Esports are trying to push and pull against them to see where exactly this pressure is going to be applied.
Yeah, struggle is a relative term. Like for Liquid Echo, it's more of perfection. It's more of a polishing of what they're actually doing. For Falcon Esports, man, they're playing with less than a full hand, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
They started with an Alucard, got the early push, and if you look at the stats, between a Moskov and a Roger, if there's a Roger on the map, it should win more often than not. But by the way the things are going, 7-1, about 5,000 between both. Oh,
now,
man.
I mean, people need to keep in mind that, like, Roger is flexible. It can go into the jungle, and it also can go into the gold lane. So that's why we have the theoreticals here and the number of matchups. 14 times we've seen this matchup, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in gold. So keep that in mind when we're looking at this data. For now, 60 seconds until the very first Lord spawns, and so far with the 5k gold lead that Liquid Echo has, like, I'm expecting Falcon Esports to just play safe, wait to counter-engage.
Just let it happen. All the more that they try to play with fire like this, calling out the shortcut. Benny once more in trouble. Benny wailing away, throwing out the spears. In comes the cavalry, literally, and they clap back. Down goes Benny Cutie. Dax going on hunting. JP up next, still alive, but just barely in comes Carlteasy with the chains. And they take one more down. Make it another, serving up the human calculator, the apex predator, Sanford.
Oh my goodness. Let's look at the replay one more time. As they pull away, the first initial engagers are already down, but Sanford makes sure that they look real juicy in this fight as they fall into the enhanced chains and turn the fight around. Honestly, just a breath of fresh air to save them that fight. That could have easily been 4 kills.
Uh-oh.
He wouldn't.
No, don't do it. Don't greed out. This will punish Benny. There's no way Benny Cutie can survive that. But yeah, again, looked very, very dangerous for Liquid Echo there, but little did we know there was an interception from down bottom where Carl Tizzy would come through, and we're back at square one. Yeah, despite having a shutdown on to Benny Cutie, Falcon Esports back up against the corner, up against the ropes, could not even consider contesting that Lord.
As of right now, I feel like the meta is so tempo-based, right? That's what a lot of these teams are trying to do. It's not about like sticking around these neutral objectives because it's really difficult to stand around the Lord now to play that Lord dance. So now it's about how much momentum can we generate, right? And more so, if somebody recalls, that might be just sacrificing a lane to a certain degree, right? That means it allows teams to set up for the potential dive, to cut off your waves and really dictate where the fight is going to be on your side of the map.
Which is one of the more smarter things that I think the devs have gotten done here in this current metagame. They've made team fights a little faster. They've made heroes move more around the map. And as you mentioned, a recall, that's as good as a technical knockout. Like, you're out of the fight unless you're like a Chip or like an Angela or a Moskov, which again is why these heroes are so in demand. You're out of the fight. That's it. You lost your team that opportunity. Carl Tizzy stealing away the orange, depriving Falcon Esports of these resources. Another chains up behind. Kid X in trouble. Oh no. The shortcut keeping him barely alive. And the Lord still swinging. Up top, Dax running through targets. Frigid Ice from a PX7, clearing the waves, popping the holy shields. They continue the aggression.
Well, this is interesting, though. Can they get the inhibitor? I feel like it was quite a bold move initially when we saw Sanford flicker forward onto Kid X and hopefully trying to trade Flicker for Flicker. And I think Kid X did a wonderful job pulling backwards and still surviving, because that battle spell is going to be the big difference in these upcoming fights.
He held his ground.
He held his ground.
And he needs this big ticket battle spell. It's what can allow for them to punish Liquid Echo even if they think they're safe, even if they're far from inhibitor range. Kid X can put them into turret range.
I think the term we're looking for is the counterplay ability that enables Falcon Esports to turn things around. But let's look at the goal distribution as of right now. In terms of minions, just whoa, okay, that didn't seem 100% correct there. But let's see, Dax already with the endless bat. Oh no.
Oh no, the counter playability to the counter playability, because you pull JP, he brings the rest of Liquid Echo with him, pops the shortcut, and Sanford just pops right back out, like just maybe 10, 15 feet away. It's like,
10, 50 feet.
I'll stay over here.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. And I think this is a great timing for TLPH, because by the time that Lord spawns, JP is going to get his ult back up. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes down to tempo, right? Being able to dictate the fight with some foreshadowing and foresight of future things to happen, like neutral objectives, is so very important. But let's look at this Alucard build for a second, right? They've already got the Brute Force breastplate, going traditionally to, as you mentioned, that semi-tank build.
Yep, has the Queen's Wings, has the BFB, and I respect that, you know? Game knows game, so if this is what he needs to build, if this is how he needs to play, so be it. Also rocking that Vengeance. Again, we really haven't seen him last that much longer in fights. This hero is just not built for this level of play. So they're working with much less than they could. Now, the Lord just demolished here by Liquid Echo. As Benny Cutie works the opposite side of the map, Falcon Esports knows that this is the defense of a lifetime. Like, they just have to... They have to clear this Lord, and they have to save their base at least. Like, that's bare minimum.
It's bare minimum for sure, but I definitely think that they haven't exactly set up checkmate angle in the most efficient way possible. However, even though they don't have checkmate angle, look at that EXP difference. Sanford just bought the Winter Crown, and I'm guessing that Liquid Echo, they're going to dive for an inhibitor.
Yep, again, you're allowed to greed out in these kinds of situations. So he built the Hunter Strike first, went for a Winter Crown, and can now force a fight. Vengeance by Royal Mick already after the enhanced chains. Top lane inhibitor taken out. The base has been penetrated. Mid and bottom going to be up next. Lord still standing, taken care of by Falcon Esports.
Good defense coming in from Falcon Esports. You sacrifice one inhib, don't worry. But now the second wave start to come through, and it's now desynced.
Step by step, Falcon Esports knows what they have to protect. They know how they can keep this fight going. Now there's an enhanced wave down bottom. Sanford looking to make it stay. Goes down now, the jump in, the response from PX7. Down goes JP, but where's the clap back? Dax jumping through, saves himself. Sanji with a stolen ult as well, reset. And Carl Tizzy looking for one more. Pops the passive on the PX7. In comes Kid X after the conceal, sends Liquid Echo packing.
Oh, man. As much as I would like to say that this is an incredible defense from Falcons, they're missing 2 inhibitors, which is going to affect them in the next 85 seconds when the next Lord spawns. It's going to be difficult to walk out, right? Because now Liquid Echo have so much tempo, and they can keep on holding it against Falcon. Oh, you want to walk up to the Lord? We'll just wait for the waves to push into your base. It's your choice.
Yep, I'll have to amend my statements about Sanford greeting out. It's actually him just bum rushing builds. Like, he's just having such a good time, an easy time on the map. 3-0 and 4 on this Lapu-Lapu that he was able to build not just a full Hunter Strike, not just a couple of good defensive items, but also the Winter Crown.
I think there is a certain level of foresight here, right? Because again, he's already got the Athena shield. He knows that Benny is going to be the big guy who chunks him out. And Dax, yes, he's already level 15, accelerated super fast into the game, but if he stops the Lycan Pounce reset, that's already a very big win for Liquid Echo. It forces Dax to actually take a step back and reconsider the options, even if he trades 1-for-1.
And that's just Sanford we're talking about. What else the rest of Liquid Echo? Again, JP, a one-man initiation machine. Sanji, just ever the versatile Swiss Army knife of both engage, crowd control, damage, and then you have Benny Cutie, who we really haven't seen much doing, right? So that means he's just a soon-built artillery machine. Like, he's only really been working on turrets.
I mean, he has only been working on turrets, but let's not forget, the last time we were casting Liquid Echo, I mentioned it before, it's about the insurance policies. And Benny, he's up there, he's just like, we got the premium on this one. He's got full build. He also made sure that he has the Winds of Nature, but at the same time, his counterpart, Benny from Falcon Esports, he's full build.
That's right, yeah, so Benny is also a force to be reckoned with, has to be respected. Because again, yeah, Sanford does have the Athena shield, but that can only last so long. He has to pick a target. It has to be PX7, it has to be Dax, or maybe even Benny, but it's just one of those at a time.
I think the hardest part is that even if they want to get multiple people, if you commit too hard on PX7, right now he doesn't have his passive, but when it comes back up, that's when Liquid Echo really have to kind of shift their objectives. But at the same time, right, when we're talking about the Frigid Glacier, it is a large area that it covers. It's a huge AoE, especially once you're kind of funneled in towards the crystal.
Which makes Liquid Echo's job not impossible, but relatively difficult despite the draft having been compromised for Falcon Esports. Like, they are making the most of a bad situation. Now they're looking for the GG push. Mid lane up next on the docket. Massive Lord up top. Dash, but down to half health after 3 spears from Benny Cutie. A force of nature. Royal Milk is still holding on to his ult, holding on to his battle spell. Already a little bit of a pull from Sanji. The stolen ult from Kid X, and that's all very low members. Royal Milk falls. Lord has fallen as well. Sanford coming into the back line. Bravest fighter into 3. Gets his immortality pop. The base is still standing, but taken down just as quickly. Liquid Echo scores 1.
Wow, what a fight. What a base defense right at the very edge. It was really difficult to tell who technically was winning, but it looks like, as I mentioned before, very together TLPH cracked down on the crystal. A split-second decision when they recognized, hey, this fight, it might not go our way.
Being very together could not have been all the more well-timed. They needed to clump up, juggle the base aggro, because again, if that lasted 2 or 3 seconds longer, wherein Falcon Esports had their core members standing, that would have looked very different.
Yeah, it was a dangerous situation to be in. But I think at the very least, when it comes down to a mechanical level, Falcon Esports are actually putting a really good fight. I don't know, but I think we need to be going into a deeper dive with our analysts, Lafel, Naisu, and Wolf. Take it away.
Thank you very much. And we got a lot to talk about, but we first got to talk about the highlights of this game. And again, Team Liquid Echo looks like they are on point, but props to Falcon as well. A lot of good base defense.
You know, I loved the way that just the whole lineup here was obviously utilized. We already talked about the chip coming into play. I'm surprised still that JP got his hands on it. But even there at the end, Sanji getting that pull with taking the I'm offended from Kid X to force them to fight was just great.
I'm loving this Lapu-Lapu plus the chip combo. By the way, Krautizi reserving the right skill up, enhanced spells to utilize in specific situations. And you're going to see Benny Cutie going for the fadeaway here because he knows that the Aurora is a threat no matter what, so he has to back down for a little bit. Then finds the big SOD on to Dax. And like I said, he doesn't have to prove anything. Goes to the back lines and just pushes the turret.
I gotta say, man, like looking at how they play, using the enhanced chain to knock up 3, that was a big game changer because that was one of the fights that actually Falcon Esports could win. The fact that they funnel it into a very tight corner, allowing Carl TZ to just come in with the enhanced chain, knocking 3 people up, changed things around. If Carl was not there, Falcon could have done better.
Yeah, I definitely think if he wasn't there, they would have ran him down. But again, that's why so many, you know, their communication for Liquid Echo, they've had so long to work on that. And you just, when you're watching their game, you see how on point they are, how they're always there for each other. And, you know, that's really hard to play against when you're the opposing team.
Yeah. You see when the Lord Dance happened, so many good things happened as well. That's not technically a dance anymore, but JP was there up top near his shortcut so that he can get to the fights if ever he's needed. And he's out of the zone where you can utilize the sentry so that you'll be spotted out. So that's that meant that when he was there during the last Lord, it was in a Karmer's bush. He actually gave so much information to his teammates that Team Liquid Echo just decided to burst down the Lord because they know that nobody's coming for them anyways, and it played out perfectly well. And then you look at Sanji, for example. Copying the right ultimates in the right situations, right? Going for the Ruby ultimate when it's needed, going in for the Roger ultimate when it's also needed. So, yeah, they played it to the T. I think there's a lot of comfort with the heroes that TLPH was able to get in this game.
I'm gonna use this time as well to let everyone know, even though the casters have said it, but after investigation, it has confirmed that Falcon Esports had a human error and picked up Alucard during the drafting phase.
Okay.
So they concluded their first game with the Alucard. So, you know, discussions could happen and you could have misclicked. So whatever happened, it was human error. With that being said, we got to continue with the game here. And again, letting go the chip, I feel like, is a very big risk. Looks like what they were planning to do was pick up the Harif as well as the Roger.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe with different EXP, maybe it could work out.
I think, yeah, you don't let them. Just both teams really take care of the Lui and the chip.
Yeah.
I know Lui was banned, you know, in the last match, but yeah, giving chip over to JP is just not a good start. I think.
Yeah. I believe they were planning to definitely do a different thing. Like you have counter engagements. Like you know, they already started with the Ruby, which was great in the 4th slot actually. So if you don't know, guys, the Ruby was taking the 4th slot, which meant that it can be flexed in the EXP lane as well as the roam role. Unfortunately, they last picked the Alucard. Whatever happened in there kind of destroyed their composition.
Yeah.
My guess is that they will put that Ruby in the EXP so that it will have a faster time farming and getting the levels, then get a Tiger or a Minotaur so that they can team fight. Imagine if that was the case. They will have time to block off Julian, for example. Maybe they can counter-initiate with their ultimates when the shortcut is indeed going to be used. So I'm very unfortunate for Falcon, but that is something that they also need to work on come the next game.
Something that I have to say, which is a little bit weird for me because I've been watching Falcon Esports for a while, where they have this style that they just outlast their opponents. However, I believe after they secured their knockout seeding, they don't play that way anymore. We usually see Kid X on this Florence, the Angelas, and then we have PX7 on something that can control the opposing side. Even Aurora can, but usually we see him on the Faramis, and then perhaps seeing a double fighter setup. So what do you guys think about them changing up the winning strategy here?
I think game 1, you can now again, given the Alucard, whatever they wanted to go with originally, it looked like they were still trying to play that, right? They were trying to stay in their base. Again, that was the 3rd Lord that was up and punched in, but because of the fact they have Sanji on the Valentina, taking the I'm offended, that alone basically forces them to not have that opportunity to extend the game any further because they were trying to do it. I mean, they turtled up in their base, and like Wolf said, they have come back in many of their games, and they were on that path. But Sanji, one decision of taking the I'm offended, pulling them through, is enough to go ahead and stop that from happening.
We're going to continue our conversation, but we got to look at our Sony MVP, and it's going to be Carl TZ on that Julian. Having the highest gold as well as the highest damage dealt, he definitely deserves it. Again, that one chain really saved his team.
Great drafting as well coming out from TLPH. Identify the best hero for this situation. You deal the damage, but you also farm. You can contest the farm. As you can see that if whenever he is being transferred to the fight, he can immediately blow up someone with one combo. And then we're gonna see him utilize the lance, the sword, and
Right here.
in this case, that is gonna be the chains. Catching 3 members, eventually just stopping the potential of Falcon to turn this game around.
How fitting, guys. Julian popping up here, MVP performance, and so far we've seen him a couple times. Remember when MSC 2022, when he just came out and how much Julian was picked up or banned out, and now here we are in 2024, and he's doing this.
And what he's doing is amazing. We got to talk about how first item, Holy Crystal, kind of just unlocks this hero, which is crazy to think because we rarely see being picked up heroes like the Beatrix, the one that has 3,000 first core item being picked up. But Julian does it well. 9 KDA, 797 gold per minute, and 82% kill participation.
We're farming from the jungle where you're essentially uncontested. Ruby plus Aurora is a strong mid duo, but it wasn't enough because they don't have the best silence to go with it. Both Roger as well as Harith depends on a lot of farm, and then you add in the Alucard, which technically loses against the Lapu-Lapu and also needs the farm. Although he was able to destroy a turret up top, that was only because the defender was actually teleported to the bottom. Technically speaking, it's not actually a free turret. With this Julian being active, there's no way to stop him farming. And Carl TC just had a lot of farm in this particular game.
Sounds great, but I would rather the Alucard just go for a basic attack build, you know? Berserker Fury, Endless Battle. I mean, it's greedy, sure, you don't have a frontline for your team, but you know, with what you have, might as well, right? The high risk, high reward.
Yeah, about all he had was vengeance, you know, at that point. Pop the vengeance, you know, go in swinging. And it makes me wonder, too, like, what would have been the game plan for Falcon Esports, aside from the Alucard there? Because I think you're right, Lafel. I think if they go for those more sustainability heroes in the roam, the Angelas, the Florins, that might serve them better against a team like Liquid Echo.
I like the idea of the Florin. It's great versus Assassins in general. Well, the Florin alone will struggle from Assassins, but his teammates won't because of the global presence of the ultimate, right? You pop the ultimate, you don't have the anti-heal anymore for 5 seconds, which means that you're very, very strong. And then if you combo that with Roger, Roger Florin is such a strong combo because it almost makes the Roger unkillable just because of the fact that there's global sustain, that you don't have to be nearby the Roger to actually help him out. And then you have extra shields afterwards. So that could have been a really big combo from Falcon. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Yeah, looking at the reactions coming in from both teams, it does look like, at least from the management side, TLPH, they look very happy. The players still look very focused. But one thing to know is that Falcon Esports, looking at their reaction, they don't look down. You know, it looks like, yeah, you know what, it's game number 1, whatever. We'll perform for game number 2. So, game number 2, chips, a no-go. Don't let go of the chips. So that's number 1. And number 2, I don't know. Let's take a vote for this, because for Falcon, I kind of want them to go for a healer route.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with you, Lafel. You know, go the healer route if you can. And will this mean that we'll have a switching of sides? I forgot
Depends.
Depends on the choice, right?
Yeah, it depends on the choice. In the best of 5, typically it's like team A. Per team, or whoever wins the coin toss gets to pick for the first.
We've been in best of 2s and best of 1s for so long.
I don't know, man.
You know, but I think that's the point. Either ban those out, the chip or the Loyi. Draft for it if you want to. If we do see, for example, Falcon Esports being on the blue side, getting that first pick priority, go with that route, or prioritize maybe even the Angela, and that rounds their lineup up with sustain.
Honestly, we've been, I would say, theory crafting, but for us to know a little bit more, we got to talk to Benny. We prepared an interview with Benny from Falcon Esports, so let's check it out.
အားလုံးပဲမင်္ဂလာပါကျွန်တော်ဘီနီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဖေကွန် Esports မှာကိုလေးနာဆောက်ကစားနေပါတယ်ဒီထက်အများကြီးပို့ပြီးပြင်ဆင်ရမှာပေါ့အများကြီးကြိုးစားရအောင်နည်းနည်းခက်ခဲတဲ့ပြိုင်ပွဲပြင်ဆင်ရမှာဆိုတော့အများကြီးဒီထက်အများကြီးပို့ပြီးကြိုးစားရအောင်ကျွန်တော်တို့screen တွေ training တွေဆော့ရင်အများနဲ့9ရောက်အများနဲ့ focus ပြီးဆော့တော့တင်ရဒီမနေ့ရတဲ့ပို့ပြီးတော့ဒီနေ့ကမနေ့ရတဲ့ပို့ပြီးတော့အများကြီးပိုကောင်းလာလို့ ဒီ knockout stage ထိရောက်လာတယ်လို့ပဲပြောချင်ပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့အားလုံးဒီတဲ့ပုံပြီးအများကြီးစူးစမ်းနေပါတယ်သူတို့နိုင်ပြီးတော့နောက်တစ်ချိန်တက်နိုင်မယ်လို့လည်းယုံကြည်ပါတယ်
So it looks like even Benny, he admits that this is going to be a rough matchup, but I like the approach where it doesn't matter if it's scrims, if it's ranked, you know, whenever they train together, they make sure they play as 5.
Yeah, they try. He said it himself. They got to try harder, and I honestly, seeing their performance here, Benny is doing that exactly, and a lot of the comebacks they had, it was also just Benny performing.
And I think Mr. Leo himself have told us some of the lore when it comes to the region and how difficult it is for them to actually train. So I believe that there are specific times of the day where they cannot do it.
Yeah.
They're not as developed as the other regions. So I think when we're just talking about like trying harder, this team has been trying one of the, you know, they've been trying the hardest, I would say. Like they have been trying to overcome all of these obstacles. It's a difficult spot for them to be in. And then they get matched up against Team Liquid Echo at the round 1 single eliminations.
Nature of competition.
Nature of competition, unfortunately.
Speaking of which, we got to talk about the battle within because the Soul Vessel Skin series are available now. Amon, Vessel of the Sea, as well as Hanabi, Vessel of Rage, are now available. So make sure you guys grab them quick because it's only going to be around until August the 5th. So make sure you guys get the awesome skins because the first draw is 50% off. And here's the thing. We have something else that's special in mind for you guys. But again, just to remind you guys, the first draw is 50% off for the first 10 draws as well. So make sure you guys join now. And we got to talk about Project Next update is live. Discover the fresh excitement of Equipment of Illusions and enjoy the game as well as enjoy revitalized thriftling gameplay. Jump in now for a more dynamic and battle experience. Whew, that one is a difficult one.
You know, it's the Equipment Evolution, man.
Yes.
And if you didn't catch the videos showing off
that's
that,
awesome.
you guys have to scroll back because, I love those.
Let's come back a little bit. And, I did not expect that Malefic gun to be like that potent.
Oh, are you talking about the video or are you talking about...
No, I mean
Oh, I'm
like,
thinking about both.
I mean like for that, we got to talk about the U Fair as well. It's here with incredible bonuses and exciting events. Grab multiple permanent skins for free, just like Sylvana's Cham skin, as well as the painted skin, Gorgeous Glam. More exciting events will be revealed, so make sure you guys watch out.
Ton of events happening right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I just got a peek at the Vessel skins yesterday.
Oh.
Of course, I didn't get any because I don't have any diamonds, but they look good.
Shout outs to Muntons. We need diamonds. Shout out to Munton.
We do. I need to play that AA Mon.
You want to play the AA Mon?
That's right.
I want to play that Hanabi.
Okay.
Well, you guys got to
Hanabi
get
Rome.
both of them first. So
Hanabi Rome.
Okay. Well, I don't want to play with Lafel anymore.
imagine you actually draw and then you get the opposite.
What did you say?
You do the...
No, not you.
I don't. If you play Hanabi Rome, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah? Well, I'll play Franco Jungle. How does that make you feel?
I want to face you in the battlefield,
Okay.
not be with you.
We'll solve it later with a 1v1.
Nah.
Yeah. We're too old for that.
We got nothing to prove, right?
We got nothing to prove.
We've been in this field. Like, we've been together since M2, man.
Yeah, that's right. We don't-
Shout outs to us. We've been doing this thing since M2. It's been a crazy journey, Wolf.
It is. It's been.
Beard gang.
Yeah, Beard Gang. I wasn't part of the Beard Gang before.
I wasn't
You weren't?
as well.
I wasn't.
So what made... Well,
You know how long our relationship has been?
How
Naisu?
long?
I've known Leo since he had hair. That's how long it's
That's
been.
that would be... When was
that's
that?
true.
That's true, right?
That's
The
true.
M1,
true.
M2, M1?
That was
M2.
M2. That was M2.
M2.
M2?
Yeah.
Yeah, Leo had
That's
that.
how long I've known the guy.
Hey, I like Leo's look now.
No, same.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't disagree. He looks macho.
yeah.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, I was considering seeing as how I change my hair every single day.
Yep.
yeah.
I'm considering.
I've known Gideon since he had a beard.
What? What? No, that's not how it works.
Can you imagine Gideon with a beard? Okay, somebody from the fans, maybe Rayash is there.
Yep, maybe
Edit it,
Riyadh.
please. Give us a,
Mick, you didn't have a beard?
just you know.
No.
Just edit it or
Give him
something.
a goatee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just a goatee.
or what facial hair would suit Gideon?
You know what?
Interesting.
A goatee.
A mustache.
A stash like
Yes.
a mustachio.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly. Like AJ.
Wow, that would be incredible.
That will be.
So Ray Ash, please edit that.
That will be one of the facial hairs of all time.
Yeah.
For sure. Speaking of which, we're looking at the scene here. It looks
Speaking of which.
look, we got to jump into the draft, okay? Looks like a Falcons Esports is going to be first pick. Team Liquid BH will be second pick here. Falcon Esports batting out the Louis, and then TLBH batting out the Angela.
Yeah.
That's smart.
You're
That's-
smart.
Where's the chip?
Well, might be the first pick for FCON if they are.
Oh, Fairman's band.
Okay, so that actually denies the chip because I feel like the two of the best heroes that can counter it, Faramis as well as the Arlet,
Yeah.
it being banned out kinda just naturally tells me that, yeah, sure, TLPH will ban out the chip. Unless they're willing to trade that so that they can get their hands on the Ling.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I don't know. I don't think FCON wants to be the team to ban out both, right? Maybe they play with the idea of even locking in the chip themselves and then,
Yeah.
like you said, and then go from there.
Yeah, so that means that, okay,
Rizla.
Rizla was the ban instead of the chip, instead of the Ling. TLPH, are they willing to trade for that one? No, straight up. Okay, so that means Roger is gonna be the first pick here for FCON or Harith. Between the two, I'm very vocal about the fact that Roger might be the priority for me. Okay,
Oh, Ling.
they snatched the Ling. Wow, so you go Roger for sure, and maybe Edith this time. There it is.
Yep.
Okay, so you answer with maybe get the Valentina now if you're FCON. Get the Valentina, you take it away. They pick it up with the Ruby as well, which is great versus the Roger in many ways. And also, it can be played in the gold lane if you're
Still flex, yeah.
if you still want to flex it. But then you get Aurora now, right? If you're FCON, Aurora or Valentina fits perfectly for this composition from FCON.
Yeah, because usually, didn't you say that Aurora is the answer to kind of lock down the Ling?
Yeah.
Oh, they go Harith, though.
Oh, whew. It's a massive surprise to me. But yeah, that locks up the Valentina. All standard here for TLPH. I
They'll
believe
ban it? Think they'll ban the Aurora?
they should. Yeah, I like the idea of banning that out. Maybe a Kagura ban as well. So that can be picked up by FCON. Force FCON to utilize mages that have big ultimates.
So honestly, right now, looking at both draft here, but before that, we got a game fact here. Carl Teasy holds the second highest average KDA among all players with 17.2. Super Marco has 20.7. I mean, talk about dominating performance.
That is Super Marco with the bulletproof
Bulletproof
Marco. Okay, so they don't ban Kagura, they banned Farsa instead. I think Aurora should be a good ban here. But between Aurora and Kagura, I would ban the Kagura because at least with Aurora, you copy the ultimate, although that's not the most optimal one. Because if you're looking at TLPH, there's no big ultimate that you can copy apart from the I'm Offended.
Yeah.
So they banned Vex instead. Wow. Okay.
Honestly, quite a lot of bans focusing on the mid, which honestly I do appreciate because PX7 is very good when it comes to... for me personally, he's the kind of guy that backs you up instead of like bursting people down, if you guys know what I mean. Like, he's a control mage, he's not really a damage-oriented mage.
Yeah. Okay. So, you banned the Minotaur. I believe that the best here for TLPH is the Yu Zhang. With the Petrify combo. Going up against the Link, that is possible. That's very possible. I think that they will last pick their Carl TZ hero or the Benny Cutie hero, depends on what they feel like. So they will reveal Edith. Apart from that, well, Arnold is bad. They pick up Gaja.
Okay. I feel like that's actually another way to just kind of handle a Ling if you're able to get the timing. But even the Harith, like, actually,
I feel like...
anyone.
Person for me, I feel like the Kaja is to deny Falcon from picking a hero that wants to frontline, like a Cho, like a Grok. So they're kind of forcing Falcon to pick up a roamer that doesn't stay in the front lines.
In that case, that is Mathilda perhaps, or maybe Florin as a sustain.
Is it good though with the Link?
Not really.
Yeah.
So usually you want to get Cho here if you're FCON, and then the Aurora that we were talking about. You go Kufra. Oh man.
I don't know about this Kufra, honestly.
Yeah, me
Especially
too.
going up against the Kaja.
I think your game will be Beatrix now if you're TLPH. It's a very strong hero. Good combo with the Kaja. You might think about the carry, but carry might struggle versus Kufra versus Ruby, and then you have Aurora as well. Carry also loses the matchup against Harith. So if you want to fight this, but then there's also the Julian. Julian plus Kaja is great. Okay, did not expect that at all.
Okay, so, well, that was the power that flexed Roger, right? You could flex it in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They lock in the Akai, so looking at TLPH's lineup, especially with the Edith, it's like maybe the second most picked hero right now, or up there.
Either ways.
Yeah, it's enough.
Either ways, the draft has been completed. Pretty interesting draft coming in from both teams. We got to see if Falcon can win this one. But with that being said, we're throwing it over to our casters.
I have to say, this is one of the very much a bold draft coming in from Falcons Esports. And not to mention that even for TLPH, they're coming in from a blast from the past, nostalgic draft, utility jungler plus a Kaja.
To be fair, I am getting Back to the Future vibes from both because, again, who expected to see the Kufra come out today? And who'd have thought that up until the very last pick, Liquid Echo would swerve us by putting the Roger back into the gold and putting a very comfortable hero into the hands of Carl Deasy. He gets his Akai.
I mean, it's a beautiful draft here from both of these teams, both looking to get a win against each other as we go into the second match here at the Land of Dawn. Falcons Esports on blue side, Liquid Echo on red. I'm expecting things to get exciting at level 4, but immediately Sanji losing out his... Whoa, okay, a flicker coming in from Kidex as well. That is rather strange. I guess maybe he had an opportunity?
That's what you call a face check.
That is called a face check. I mean, Sanji's missing his Purify.
Oh, so he did force it to trigger. And that's about a minute until Sanji gets it back. And this is, oddly enough, Sanji forced to respond. He's forced to just hunker down and get his EXP. He doesn't want to go home.
I think at this point of time, there's just... It's too much of a sacrifice to get a TKO so early on into this match, but he does find the trade back.
Bang!
Can they break the passive? Oh, beautiful stuff.
They know. Kid X jumping in, catches JP, and Sanji hitting the basics and the skills.
Oh, this is so rough. This is so rough. From what previously I thought that Liquid Echo, man, without that mid lane, maybe they lose Litho Wanderer. Luckily, Kaltizi is able to win out on that retreat. But even worse so, having to recall for the side of PX7 and missing out an entire wave on top of that, he's going to be a full level behind eventually.
Yep, so what Falcon Esports look to start against Sanji, claps back against him. Sanji holding his ground here. And the jump by Kid X! Could this be it? Oh, the bouncing ball keeping him stationary. Oh, the Burmese draw first blood.
Oh, man. It looks like Sanji is a little uncomfortable dealing with this with Kid X right now on this Kufra. To be fair, it has been a while since we see Kufra come back into these types of games. We've seen only one other time beforehand that Kufra came into play professionally here at MSC. But for the most part of it, Liquid Echo, they got a code switch here.
Yep, now we have the turtle up. Carl Deasy holding his ground. Kid X looking for an angle. In retry range, Carl Deasy gonna go ahead and get it. Heavy spin on a Kid X, keeping him in place. Sanford gets a kill, and Royal Milk can only watch.
Take the freebies while you still can. Good thing that Liquid Echo is keeping a timer on the battle spells. Kid X still 2 seconds off until he gets it. At the same time, we do see the Ling has been roaming around the map, making sure that he's picking up as much gold as possible. It's really important that you don't lose pressure off of your EXP and as well as your mid lane, because that could result in losing a purple buff. And I mean, Ling and purple buff, they go hand in hand.
That's so Dax. Even if he wasn't playing a Ling, this is the tempo he would like to go at. Up until when he's ready, that's when he's gonna snap the finger, put on the kill switch, and say it's go time. I'm assuming maybe at least 2 core items for him, 2 solid items for the Ling before he actually joins anything, and he's far off, man. Far off.
He's pretty far off. It's gonna take some time. I think this is gonna be a slow burner for the most part of it, unless, you know, we see Liquid Echo kind of like break up apart. But notice them, right? They're moving in kill squads. They're making sure they don't give opportunities. And oh,
nice dodge. Benny Cutie smelt something in his midst, and he lets go. Look at that aggressive first built Sky Piercer.
Yep, he loves doing this, right? He doesn't deviate too much from his build a majority of the time. He usually has 2 go-tos, but as of right now, I think the biggest concern is whether, oh,
All right.
does he get it?
PX7 gets hit with a stolen ult. They're jumping once more from Kid X. Hyperactive. This roamer from Falcon Esports. Carl Easy catches a freeze from PX7 in mid. Oh, I think what they're doing is they're forcing a response from Dax here. The pull! Divine Judgment! Benny Cutie scores a kill on a Kid X.
Yeah, I think as of right now, the rotations coming in from Falcon Esports needs a little bit of foresight, right? I like what they're doing. They're kind of like compromising that mid lane, forcing Sanji to not really walk out of it, but the side lanes are coming at a big cost, right? Benny QT is a full level ahead at this point of time, and I think that he has a slight gold lead at this point of time. Top side ends up missing 2 minions on that rotation down to the mid, and I think at this point, Falcon Esports really need to consider how exactly do we approach this? Do we take JP out first and then consider going for more, or do they keep targeting Sanji?
Oh, here we go. I'm offended. Putting Sanford in trouble. Forced to flicker out. There's the Primal Wrath. Lord still standing. Kid X gonna go down here. Nah, unless Benny Cutie finds Sue in the west. Down goes one. Kid X taken out. There's the passive on a PX7. Benny Cutie eventually finds his prey. The fight continues. Liquid Echo starting the turtle pit and all the way right into Falcon Esports jungle.
Yeah, I mean, they're running real fast. Let's look at the replay one more time because they committed so much onto Sanford and was not able to find that kill. As soon as they're out of resources, that's when you see the clap back. I mean, Falcon Esports, it's at this point of time, they need to kind of slow their roll a little bit. Yes, you can use your resources aggressively, like JP flipping forward, but for the most part of it, you're going to need at least 2, like you mentioned, 2 items before they get some real profit.
Yep, so he's got the Berserker's Fury, but something tells me Falcon Esports, they're not happy with the pace that Dax is farming at. Like, they want him to double time. They want him to hustle. Looking at their net worth and their items so far, it seems like it's Benny who's just on schedule. It's just Benny who's been farming up relatively carefree compared to everyone else, and I'm not so sure that's the insurance policy they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, considering that Benny QT was able to join that fight, pick up 2 kills and an assist on top of that, like,
and then come back.
Well, we'll see, because right now, even when we're comparing EXP, like, Akai is pretty huge, and this is the influence we're talking about.
Yeah. Carl TZ, now look at this, asserting dominance. I dare you, Dax, I dare you. You want this purple buff? Come take it. He can't. Carl TZ stole it away. Grand Theft Purple. Carl has 2 stars.
And that's why considered to be world's greatest jungler of all time. It's so brutal. It's so brutal what Liquid Echo is just doing to Falcon Esports, right? It's not like game 1 where it was about tempo. Now it's about, hey, we've already gotten through the early phase of this game. The real question is, how many mistakes is Falcon Esports going to make?
And it's less about them just tripping up. Liquid Echo are dropping banana peels. Aggressively so. Like, all right, put it here, put it here, put it here. That turtle, the purple fight, right? That was clearly a ego check by Carl Dean and say, you're going to have to do better than that. And again, this is an Akai. He can just click heavy spin whenever he's ready. Speaking of, it's off of cooldown. I don't think there's much they can do here to secure this turtle unless... Oop, clean take.
Very
yeah,
clean
Liquid
take.
Echo wants to force Falcon out of here.
I don't think I guess he's just looking for more information here, right? He does notice where PX7 is, and I think, you know, Carl TZ is at a point where he is just pretty unkillable at this point in time. They don't have a dedicated tank buster as well, and I don't think Benny has enough items to really take him down. Hopefully the item list pops up, because I'm assuming that Carl TZ is going to opt for some kind of MR. Yeah, there it is.
Here we go. MR on the way, right? He actually bum rushed the blade armor.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's prepping up for Royal Milk's basic attacks. He's prepping up for Dax just in case. Doesn't need it anyways, right? Now they continue. They choke out the purple. The I'm Offended coming in from Royal Milk. The jump in from Kid X, but PX7 falls first, and now it's going sideways. Double kill for the Typhoon, Benny Cutie. It's storming out here in Riyadh.
Ooh.
Triple kill for Benny, and they convert into a mid lane tier 2 off camera though. We see Benny pushing out. Can Carl find him?
Oh!
Yes, he does. Gets the basic recalls for good measure. Where you going, little boy?
No.
Oh, Benny, he's gonna be fine though. He's all right.
I mean, but they're losing so much tempo off of this, right? Look at this. Now Liquid Echo can start moving around the map freely. The next wave that comes in, Benny has to completely sacrifice this.
Yep.
And without that recall, now he has nowhere on the map where he can, like, find that farm. And look, they faked him out so hard. They're just letting the minions do the work.
That's right. They undid his hard work. Here's a quick look at the replay. Honestly, in such a small piece of the map, again, this is just the purple jungle for Falcon Esports, so many things happened. Like, there were so many little fights that BennyQt had to keep tabs on to clean up.
Yeah, I think, you know, coming from Liquid Echo's perspective, it's like a two-pronged attack. It's like there's purple buff, which is super important for Dax, but all of a sudden PX7 is out of position because of that. And that's why I'm saying, how many mistakes positionally can you make from the side of Falcon Esports when you want that traditional front to back and you get hit from two sides, especially now that the mid-tier 1 has been opened up and even the mid-tier 2 already cracked open. At this point, Liquid Echo can basically walk around effectively and force Falcon Esports into these forced errors.
And look at that, off camera. We didn't even have to see it much happening. They did more than just blitz it. They casually took the Lord. Scored here by Liquid Echo. Now look at the item gap between these heroes, lane per lane. 1,000 between the Ling and the Akai is much more miserable when you think that damage items are more expensive than tank items.
Totally agree with that. But at the same time, right, keep in mind that Dax is one of the only people who can actually extend this game. A mistime offended coming in from Royal Milk, good attempt. But yeah, hopefully Dax is able to continuously proxy these waves to stall things out. Because right now, it's almost a 10k gold lead on the very first Lord.
Yep. Talking about that proxying, luckily, Liquid Echo does not have the likes of a Chip or a Moskov. So their responses are actually all-in responses. They have to commit. And what was that? A forced flicker on Kid X. Oh, he walked into a lethal bush. Now Benny gonna go hunting. Chases him down. Forces a conceal play. Now Kid X coming in with the jump. The full combo, Revenge and Rage, and BennyQt is going to casually scratch away.
These are not atypical mistakes made by Falcon Esports. I don't know. It feels like they might have been a little tilted from game number 1 because this game pretty much feels pretty... honestly, it feels pretty over for them, right?
Scattered.
It's... I don't see an angle. Yeah.
Oh, Divine Judgment on Royal Milk. He's expired in mid. They're going to jump in. The heavy spin. Up and change. PX7 zip code. Send him straight through. Popping his passive. And taken down. Here comes Dax. Tempest of Blades right in. Trying to clear the waves. They're down 2 men. This is dangerous.
It's very dangerous. And honestly, something's telling me that Sanji in his past life was an EXP laner and only played Ruby or some sort. Because he is just hitting every single stolen. I'm offended.
He was once a jungler. That much I've learned from interviews, but I don't know about EXP laners.
I mean, I don't know. He doesn't seem to miss. Every single I'm offended has been like extending their lead or just game breaking.
That's what ended the last game.
And I think it's going to continue into this one, right? At this point, I don't see a foreseeable future for Falcon Esports to bounce back unless we see Liquid Echo make a huge mistake. And even then, I feel like they could stat check Falcon Esports for the most part, even if it is the penultimate play.
Yeah, that's what makes these utility jungler-based lineups work so well. They're so well-rounded. They're not a coin flip from Assassins where, all right, I made the wrong entry or I didn't burst down the right person. You can find re-engages, and they come relatively cheap. I mean, sure, you have to wait close to a minute when you flub the heavy spin, but that aside, you have so many safe angles to attack from. 20 seconds until this next Lord comes up. Yeah, Dax is close to it, but I don't think he's looking to contest. He's just looking to extend the life that they have here in this game.
Oh my goodness, he's about to get one
no.
shot.
Oh, no.
He doesn't get the
Jump
lightning
in.
pounce.
Wall from wall. Dax run. Dax finally lands. Not enough energy to go. Tempest of Blades through. Gonna get this sword. Get a few hits. He's burning. He's burning. It's hot. He's burning. He survives. Cyclone Eye out. Kid X trying to go put up the wall through, but BennyQt jumps in, tracking. Dax taking him down. Now it's Kid X's turn to get punished. Double kill for BennyQt. While this while Carl DZ was taking the Lord. How many stacks does this young man have on his spear, sir?
Oh, that's gotta be so upsetting. Kid X walks out, tries to conceal his boy Dax so that they can both freely walk away with the extra movement speed. They saw the conceal being used by Liquid Echo, so they had no real means to catch up. And now BennyQt has been just taking all of these kills, 8-0-3, and has a GDS. This man is living in the future.
He's running on all fours. Even in human form, it looks like he's in Lycan form. That's how fast he is. Another flicker and a Divine Judgment. Royal Milk taken out by Sanji. The 1 and 2, the alley-oop. Forcing out Tempest of Blades here from Dax. Put in Lord here. At a quarter of its health, a tenth of its health. Taken down. They're alive, but barely breathing. Turret taken down in mid. Top lane as well. It's a bear base left for the Burmese. Are they going to be on match point? Liquid Echo going in with a stampede. Benny's going to try to defend, but it's over. 2-0. for the champions of MPL Philippines.
Oh my goodness, what a brutal game this was. What an absolute beatdown from TLPH. Whenever you're expecting to see Falcon Esports bounce back, they take away their resources. They're giving them leg kick upon leg kick upon leg kick.
And that just stops you from getting up even. Don't even think about throwing out strikes of your own.
Yeah, I mean, your ankle's honestly breaking at this point. I think at this point, Falcon Esports, they need to calm down. They cannot be making these simple mistakes time and time again. And I think, unfortunately, yeah, this is a very tempo-based meta that they have to really consider how to make those first approaches effective.
I'm thinking they should just regroup, start at 0, find that groove back, find the spirit.
All right, well, with that being said, let's throw it over to our analyst once again. Break it down for us. What could have been done better?
I mean, honestly, when it comes to what comes down better, I kind of feel like it starts in the draft because, again, I feel like this Kufrape going up against Kaja, it's kind of a rough matchup, at least for me.
Yeah, rough to deal with. I like the idea of, you know, they picked up the Ling, and we've seen teams find success with these assassins, but this makes me also kind of go back a little bit and think, man, you know what? Utility junglers like this Old Faithful Akai pick from Carl Teasy still work really well as well.
The reason why it works so well is that because they knew how to utilize it from, you know, from the early game to the latter portions of the game. One of the traits of the Carl Teasy Akai is that it is never gonna be under-leveled, and typically teams that fail with the Akai get under-leveled so much, get punished so much, but TLPH just knows how to farm well and protect their own jungle. And also, I think Benny Cutie just is very comfortable with this hero, as well as Sanji. Sanji with the Ruby plays always just keeps his tabs on copying the I'm offended, and was always on point with it as well.
Yeah, I would say, again, Carl is the GOAT. He has mastered the damage dealer assassins. He's mastered the utility jungler assassins because we've seen him actually using the heavy spin, I would say aggressively and defensively. Like we've seen the Kufra engages getting canceled by his heavy spin. So I kind of feel like this is one of those situations where I do have to say that the draft was won by TLPH because they have multiple answers towards the problem that Falcon Esports present.
Man, just looking at this, like Gideon said, it was, you know, a beatdown. It was very rough. Look at just the disparity in terms of the gold gain of the items even. And that's always, I feel like, the coin flip you play, like Leo mentioned. When you pick an assassin and you start wrong, it's already difficult to make it work, but if you start off on a bad note or behind, getting back in position to even things out is even more difficult.
It seems like TLPH, them knowing how to utilize the assassin junglers means that they also know how to counter it. And the answer is always the Valentina. It kind of revolves around, especially when you're given access to the Ruby, because the combo, so it seems, for FCON is Ling plus Ruby.
Yeah.
And they also utilize the Ruby plus the Roger. So it's like the Ruby will always be part of the composition of the wish list that they're always doing, which means that now the Valentina is going to be having a lot more stock because you counter the enemy jungler and you also kind of counter the roamer slash the EXP laner for this one. So maybe for FCON, ban the Valentina next game.
Personally as well, I kind of feel like this is a bad matchup of rock, paper, scissors where Falcon wants to win in the later stages of the game, but TLPH is very good at ramping up their advantages because, again, 1,000 gold feels like 6,000, 7,000 for TLPH. So they're coming in with the draft and they're coming in with the game plan is that, okay, we stall, we try to contest for some turtles, but our main plan is to just win team fights against TLPH. But the thing is, you got to figure out how to slow them down. And I feel like that's the biggest problem. Falcon Esports cannot find a way to slow down TLPH.
I mean, even if you look back at the MPL Philippines Grand Finals, at that point, Falcon's AP Bren couldn't find a way to slow down, you know, Liquid Echo here.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be the case even throughout MSC so far.
Yeah, and honestly, I do feel like they have to make a bit of a risk coming into game number 3. I'm not talking about letting go the chips or Louis. I kind of feel like that's a little bit too much, but change your game plan, change your mindset to win one lane, either the mid, EXP, or gold, and try to get some kind of advantages in that particular area. Because I feel like if you just let TLPH win everything, you're not going to get to the late game that you want to.
Yeah, I believe that there's some magic as well from what Team Liquid Echo has been doing in this particular case, because they're looking at a composition where the wave clear is much faster on their side. They have the Valentina plus the Kaja. Kaja clears the wave so fast because of the passive as well as skill 1. And then you're looking at the Valentina as well. And the XP side, that's the Edith that also clears it faster because of the onward combo. And then obviously the Akai, surprisingly one of the slower utility junglers when it comes to clearing the waves. But if you get your Motonescence fast, like what he did,
Farm pretty well, yeah.
Farm pretty well. So they clear the wave so fast, they eventually get into jungle invasions and they win afterwards. So yeah, that's also part of the recipe.
Yeah, and now we got to look at our Sony MVP, and it's going over to JP using that Kaja, where again, very proactive, but the way that he plays in this game, he doesn't always have to be proactive. He can be reactive as well.
You know, when you look at this, and Wolf kind of touched on this a little bit, especially with that Kaja pick locked in, and then you already pick a risky lineup that's meant to get the momentum going, but if a Kaja just picks off one member here, things quickly fall apart with the lineup that Falcon Esports brought to the table.
Yeah, but again, it was given the go-ahead. By the way, JP always on point with the snack. He was able to catch the Aurora in this case. BX7 being eliminated early, despite having the ultimate, means that there isn't any lockdown afterwards. So they are this lineup coming out from FCON is also combo dependent, so taking out one after the other makes a lot of sense why they pick up the Kaja afterwards. 12 KDA, by the way.
Which is amazing, 86% kill participation. And honestly, I look back into the draft, there's not really a good target for Dax to try to assassinate. You can't go to the Edith, you can't go to the Akai. Honestly, even going against the Roger, I feel like Betty Cutie can outplay that. So it becomes a situation where I'm pretty sure he wants kills. He's just like, who? Everyone's protected. You go somewhere, you see JP. You go somewhere, you see Carl Teasy. You go somewhere, you see Sanford. So it's like everyone's a bodyguard. And with that, like, Wolf, can you explain it to us a little bit more with your Telestrator?
Oh yeah, we got Bob here, right?
Bob, thank you very much, Bob. Bob is the Telestrator.
So this happened around the 7-minute mark. I'm gonna show you a clip that happened at 7-minute mark. This is interesting because usually around this time you're still trying to stabilize the lanes, and one thing that you have to take note about the Ling is that it is purple buff dependent. Right? You want to choke him in the jungle. So if we just zoom in on the minimap for a little bit, right here, you're not going to see it. But, well, you're going to see the bottom lane, which is also more important. Maybe look at the red dots that you might not be able to really just clear out of there. There you go. The waves are cleared in the mid lane, and then in the bottom lane it is pushed out. So the defense out here coming out from FCON is not gonna be enough. So the first step always for jungle invades, which TLPH is doing here, is to clear the side lanes, clear the mid lane, try to go for the engage. Now JP and Sanji are gonna be hiding. Only Cartesian and Sanford are showing themselves, and this really caught PX7 off guard because he wanted to land that stun, and that meant that JP was able to jump on him, and then they go out again, outplay him, and then they go in out and in out afterwards. Cartesian just focused on one goal, which is to choke the jungle, and once he's done that, he just, okay, I'ma head out.
I'm out.
Literally, I'm out here. And by the way, if we just scroll back a little bit, before the actual fight happened, there are so many things that TLPH actually did correctly in this game, which is to identify their strengths. Okay, so if Moss is just elevated, this will be very quick now. Harith is up top. You can see through the minimap, which means that this will be a 4v5 scenario. And TLPH, despite them having they have a 6,000 gold lead at this time, they're still checking all of their check boxes. They're making sure that everything is safe. They go 5v4 in that purple buff. They cleared the lanes. They did their diligence, practically checkmating FCON that moment.
Honestly, that's a very good catch coming in from Wolf. If you want to invade the jungle, make sure that your side lanes, as well as your mid lane, is properly pushed out so that while a fight is going on, even if you don't get the kills, the opposing side will actually have a tougher time because the minions are going to come in. So even if you don't win the fight, you're winning the macro play.
Yes. The worst thing that can happen is maybe one of their members gets killed. Well, probably maybe Sanji, but that's difficult. At this point, Kaltizi is difficult to take out because he's got the Molten Essence and the Blade Armor at this point, 7 minutes in.
Yeah.
As the utility jungler, maybe if they go all in, maybe they can take Kaltizi. Still very difficult.
And that's why, too, at that same clip timing, the fleeting time was picked up by JP at that point. So, like, he was already wreaking havoc with the Divine Judgment, but now that he picked up the fleeting time, and then it's happening more, and that's why also there was no answer to get to Benny Cutie, man. What was his final KDA? It was
8-0
8-0 and something?
8-0-3, 8-0-4,
with a
something
War
like
Cry emblem?
Yeah.
My goodness.
There you go.
The thing is, honestly, Carl TZ, no matter what utility jungler he's been using, I guess this is more of a meta update when it comes to his builds. He's actually been rushing that Blade Armor. So apparently most utility junglers now, they can deal-ish with the magic dealers, or this is just a Carl TZ thing where he's like, I'm not going to be messing with the mid lane. It's going to be JP as well as Sanji's job to deal with them. I'm just going to make sure that the physical damage dealers are dealt with.
Yeah. Is this the answer because of just, you know, now not priority, but more assassins being picked up? So if you pick a utility jungler, you just rush?
Blade Armor.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe
so.
that's the case.
Yeah, because you can literally outlast, and it's not worth it to go for that place. For going onto Akai, for example, not only does he have the heavy spin, but he also has the Blade Armor. So it's always less rewarding to go for the junglers now. Utility junglers, I mean.
Well, with that being said, right now it is match point. If Team Liquid Echo wins this one, not only will they move on to the semifinals, but Falcon Esports, not just do they lose, they have to give their keys to TLPH. So this is the ritual for
That's
the knockout
brutal.
stage.
Yeah.
It's not that, oh, you hand it over to Sandstorm or Mara, and then no, you have to give it. You have to physically hand it over to the ones that took you down. That's brutal and legendary. And now we're jumping straight into the bans here. Falcon Esports are going to be first pick again.
Yeah.
Team Liquid Echo are going to be in the second pick. They ban out the Louis as well as the Angela. Looks like TLBH, they understand the formula. Ban out the Angela, ban out the Faramis.
I'm just really, I'm gonna let Wolf answer this because I'm sure a lot of people supporting here for Falcon Esports also want to know, like, based off those two games and how one-sided it was, what does FCon do to come out and hopefully not get swept here?
If they feel like it's going to be Dax who is their win condition, I think I'm more comfortable for them staying in the assassin jungler route. But don't get greedy and pick up Harith, because that means that you have to take care of two things. If they really love to pick up the Ruby, put it in the gold lane so that you have your base covered, right? I believe that PX7 is very strong with these nuke mages like the Aurora, like the Farsa. So maybe take advantage of that. I think that the first step now, if they want to force a game number 4, is to ban Valentina, which they didn't now, and also don't pick up the Harith anymore. So if they do pick up the Ling this time, okay, if they're TLPH, this is Roger Valentina.
I mean, the Ling has been picked up here for Falcon, so I don't know. I just feel like Kid X is very good when it comes to his positioning, when he's using this healer, so I'm hoping for a change. Like, I feel like the Ling is fine. I would almost say go double fighter at this point.
Okay, so that is indeed the Roger Valentina, right, that we predicted. And then there is the, maybe Ruby is the next one, or Aurora for the side of Falcon. Okay, so it's...
This Valentina Roger? Okay.
Oh, this might be flipped. Yeah, that is indeed.
Okay.
They still go for the Harith. Okay.
I mean, this time they have a Terizla, which is a little bit better, but still.
It's still expensive.
Yeah, it's very expensive, yeah.
Yep. So they immediately go for Kaja or TLPH.
Honestly, for this one, maybe if they pick up the Flore, maybe a little bit better, because I would say the Harv as well as the Terizla can use it quite well.
Yeah. What's going to happen here is that they're going to be giving up the Aurora again. This time, the fourth pick will be different. This is Valentina, Roger, and Kaja. So I think EXP lane is going to be next for...
Is Yuzhong still up, right?
Yep. Yuzhong...
What about Edith? Is Edith still...
Edith
banned out.
Yuzhong. So that's the Vex. So this could be Lapu Lapu ban, and then TLPH will just pick up Benedetta afterwards. That's just like a,
I mean,
natural course for TLPH.
Oh, they themselves ban out the Ruby, actually.
So either Lapu-Lapu or Benedetta for Paquito.
Insta pickup as well. Doesn't take time to think about that one.
They gotta watch the back door too. Always a possibility.
True.
Okay. I hope this is Aurora Tigreal for FCON.
All right, now let's see here. Player code. I drank a lot of milk because this is the highest prize pool tournament in MLBB history. From Royal Milk.
I guess this is Aurora plus Minotaur instead.
I drink a lot of milk too.
I like coffee.
Yeah. I'm trying to guess if this will be like Mathilda to kind of help them, or maybe Florin.
Honestly, Matilda is not bad. I feel for this
Yeah,
one.
I think Florin.
The only thing is Matilda is definitely going to get caught by the Kaja. I feel like 80 Frontline is going to have a little bit of trouble. I mean, they have an answer with the Turiza, right? So if someone pulls them in, that was almost Zask!
What?
Okay. So at least we get the Tigreal. Makes a lot of sense. Zask. Okay.
Okay.
So they still go Akai. So
You said risk. This is
Practice-
risk.
Right on. Yes.
practically the same for Team Liquid Echo. Because they last pick the Akai.
Yeah, the last bit, okay. So this is basically the same draft coming in from TLPH. Now, Falcon Esports injecting a little bit of risk. I like it. But is it enough to win this game? That question, I'm going to throw it over to the casters.
Appreciate it, boys. Once again, we're getting some wilder things coming in from Falcon Esports. Like, I have to admit, the Zask is going to be pretty interesting, and there's also the interaction of his ult being stolen by Valentina once more, as we see almost pretty much the exact same lineup, other than a couple of changes here and there, like Terry Bogard coming in.
Which is something that Sanford did in the group stage that hopefully Falcon Esports watches out for. I'm sorry, I'm still not over the fact that we're seeing Zask here in Falcon Esports' possible last stand, that they have to make this work.
I mean, you got to respect it, right? The last time I saw Zask being played was Snapdragon Pro Series, but I think at this point, Falcons, they're already pushed into a corner. They need some sort of answer, and I think, you know, as long as the mid lane is under control, which I think they're still going to prioritize this game, that's probably their biggest driving force.
It has an interesting interaction with the Divine Judgment, even with the heavy spin. The aforementioned IMU with the Dominator Descent. I'm not so sure if Sanjay wants to prioritize stealing that, or the penalty zone, or even the implosion, but hey, new interactions and possibly new results here for game number 3.
I think Sanjay is most likely going for the penalty zone or the implosion. But then again, you know, in the previous couple of games where he has played Valentina, like, he can get a little wild with it, right? So I think at this point of time, the early game is going to be so important, right? Fighting for these Litho Wanderers, as many neutral objectives as possible. The bigger ones, maybe let the first turtle go through, right? Get PX7 in a better position before considering taking these fights.
Yep, already you can see here Kid X pushing the boundaries of what he can do with a Tigreal. Its passive actually is a little better against a different mid duo because JP and Sanji both deal magic damage. So he's not as chunky compared to, like, let's say if that was a traditional tank roamer, you know, that deals physical damage. Down bottom, you have Royal Milk versus Sanford. I can see why Sanford's kind of struggling.
Yeah, I mean, no surprises here, right? Even Sanford himself is like, okay, I'm just going to have to wait until level 4 before we can really start trading against each other. And more so, he's not looking to win this lane. It's more so he wants to be able to match the lane against Royal Milk and still show up on time. And, well, I personally think that Liquid Echo, they're targeting Dax hard. He goes in, they've got so many different answers.
Which makes his job a little harder. Oh no! PX7 gets bursted down! Sanji with a stolen penalty zone! Coming in against Royal Milk, wailing away. And they go up. The response from Royal Milk as well with the flicker fadeaway. All this while they were playing defensively, Carl-TZ secures the turtle. Kid X able to survive, flickers back. Can Dax survive here? Can Dax get away? He has to give up his small camp. Nope, still fighting for it. And Royal Milk, wow, knocks out Sanford.
I think Sanford's a little upset there. He's like, man, well, I mean, that body of the Smith is tougher than usual, but Carl-TZ should be able to find it. Yep, push him away. Wait.
What? Oh, the body of Smith able to keep Royal Milk alive alongside a combination of his brave smite, keeping him topped up. Dax cleans up Beniguti as he tries to get away, runs the opposite direction into Falcon Esports jungle. What's going on?
I think we can safely say that Liquid Echo is feeling a little too comfortable here.
Too comfortable.
Way too comfortable. I mean, I have to admit, their decision-making in terms of punishing their opponents, like Sanford flickering, knowing that Zask is at level 4, without the Dominator's descent, he has no means of escape.
Yep. And I think this is a wake-up call for Liquid Echo. Like, all right, we gotta take it easy. Again, they are up now by about 300, 500 gold. And an instant replay. Okay, so he did heal up a bit, and I'm sure there was a level of Body of Smith damage reduction that kept him alive from those heavy spin procs.
That's so unfortunate.
Oh, here we go one more time. Up top, Kid X pulled in. 3-man kill squad from Liquid Echo.
Was that necessary, Sanji? I felt like that was a bit overkill, including the IMU implosion on top of it all. But hey, a kill's a kill, and definitely kind of tells the rest of Liquid Echo, hey, we're not making any more mistakes. Let's guarantee these kills and get back into this game before we start getting comfortable again.
Whatever gets the job done. Despite the fumbles from Liquid Echo, I have a sense that Benny is playing very, very conservatively, like Benny from Myanmar, right? Because he's down on EXP. I'm not so sure what the gold situation is, but I can smell that Benny Cutie actually is a little bit more pushed forward. Now look at them, racing down to the turtle. As Royal Milk and Carl Easy wail away at it, at less than half health. JP looking in. There's the ult, the implosion coming through. Heavy spin, Tempest ablaze, ult thrown out the window, left and right. Sanji secures a turtle for his team as they all disperse.
Huh? What? How? What? Why is Sanji the one picking up the turtle here? It just manages to survive despite 2 retributions. Sanji, by the way, is the one that picks up that neutral. And at this point in time, everybody's going to start pushing towards the top side of the map. But look at this one more time, right? The implosion comes through, Dax jumps in, and then we finally see the stolen penalty zone actually getting involved. Sorry, Royal Milk coming in with a flicker with the penalty zone to kind of shake things up. And honestly, it's not that bad. I think that Carl did a good job with the heavy spin, but now Dax, he's dead.
Just snapped out of existence. Well, all right. There seems to be a fight that happened here just north of their purple jungle side, and we can only assume what happened. But regardless, that is a huge loss for Falcon Esports. That's a core hero that they shouldn't have afforded to have gone down. I have a theory as to what happened in that jungle turtle fight, but we'll talk about it later. After this implosion coming in, Sanji slain by PX7, serving up a kill.
The overkill on top of overkill. Both sides are like, we need to get the job done. We cannot allow our opponents to be walking away with a sliver of health. Guarantee these kills.
No quarter. Whatever they need to do to make sure that you go down and we find a conversion elsewhere. Because again, a man missing is a spot for Falcon Esports to rotate into. So if Sanji's gone, that means mid can be leaned hard into. And that allows them to keep this gold lead slightly manageable. 1,000 in. Now JP in trouble. Forced into that wall by Benny. Oh, here comes the Zaman Force. Gets the kill in. That's a roamer. Taken down. But I think, yeah, JP will be back for the turtle, man.
Yeah, he's going to be back for the turtle, and at the same time, we are seeing Sanford actually proxying the wave onto Royal Milk, right? So he's going to be on that turtle first. They can sit on top of it, and we'll see what Liquid Echo decides to do. For the first time, we are seeing that Falcon Esports up by 2 kills, 5-3. But let's bring it back a little bit, right? Because this purple buff is such a big objective for Falcon Esports that Liquid Echo consistently apply pressure.
It's not just an objective, man. It's a necessity.
It's like a mini lord.
For Dax, and if they don't get it on him, then they're fighting half-cocked. Check this out. The ult already spent in by PX7. Sanford checking the flank, making sure nothing comes out. The implosion coming in from Kid X. Royal Milk scores the kill on to Sanji. Now JP, Benny, and Carl walking away. Heavy spin. Oh, they're forced to be on the defense now as Sanford attempts to burst down Dax. Kid X puts up a barrier, checking on JP. Sanford coming back to the scene. Dax scores the last turtle for his team. Flicker out by Stanford. Suddenly, Falcon Esports are alive.
Oh, all right. They're coming back, right? They finally dealt with the tilt. They're realizing, hey, this is our moment right now. If we succumb to pressure, then what does that say about us? Let's show Liquid Echo what we're all about. As we look at this replay here, look at this. Kid X gets 3 people with a flicker implosion, catching 3 of the most important members that could disrupt the combo to begin with. Most importantly, they're still targeting Sanji.
And Sanji is not all the better for it. He's actually down about 200, 300 gold from PX7, who himself hasn't really been having a cakewalk of a time in mid, right? PX7 has been working hard to make this off-meta hero a thing. And Carteezy walks into that bush, gets pushed in, gets knocked up. PX7 looking for the free hits. Carteezy forced to use a heavy spin defensively. He gets taken down by the Alien Dominator coming in from the galaxies. And now JP down to a fifth of his health. Revenge strike by Royal Milk. Not enough damage to force a kill on the JP. And they send the cavalry packing. Falcon Esports on the aggressive.
I think that Liquid Echo may have underestimated them a little too much. And again, all of this is just snowballing out of control from the earlier stages of the game, right? If we look at this replay one more time, this was a very interesting decision. I think they weren't expecting Royal Milk to show up for this fight because nobody was visible on the map at that point of time.
Yeah, what this tells me is Falcon Esports have to commit to their flickers. Like, if Liquid Echo haven't been counting flickers down to the second, they have to now. Because so far, back-to-back, those are the team fights that Falcon Esports win.
For the time being, after looking at the goal differences here, Benny QT just ever so slightly ahead of Benny from Falcon Esports. And that's a big insurance policy, right? But that's under a very large condition where the Liquid Echo could chunk out the members of Falcon Esports effectively. They already have to deal with a bunch of stuff, right? Kid X has his passive to naturally be tanky, and Benny QT will have to wait patiently. PX7 is by far the most annoying hero to deal with for the entirety of the lineup of Liquid Echo. So Sanford, if he's not targeting PX7, he's looking towards Dax and Benny. And for the most part, as long as he's standing around the little alien sentry turret PX7 has, then there's not much you can do. The slow from it is pretty obnoxious.
Yep, and again, the damage that it deals, it's a combination of burst and DOT. So you have to really watch out. Royal Milk here, chunked down by Sanji and Carl. Kid X, check in the corners, clearing these corridors. And now the Lord dance continues.
Interesting.
We've been here about 10-15 seconds now. It's bursting down Dax. Kid X not really checking that northern part of the fight. Royal Milk, he's burning. Oh, here comes JP with a Divine Judgment. The implosion on the 3 and the pushback. Heavy spin by Carteezy. Here we go. Benny dancing on. Drops a 7-4. Sanford in trouble. Able to dash away. Dash looking for the secure. Gets the kill. Knocking out Terry Bogard. Straight out for Kid X. 1 for 1 so far. Where is this fight going? Lord gets hard reset. Liquid Echo, majority of them at half health. They're playing around their side as Falcon Esports. Oh, they're playing with fire. Just staying here.
I think they can rush this down, right? I mean, it's a 50-50. Good luck, Dax.
Can they? Here comes Carteezy looking for it. Secures the Lord, steals it away, but pays with his life. Oh, wow. You know what? For all intents and purposes, I'll say that's worth it.
I think that's hella worth it. I mean, to be fair, Dax technically shouldn't be in that position anyways. When you're playing against an Akai, you want to be on the outer sides away from those walls. And he's got a 2-level lead on top of Carteezy, which again, very surprising, right? Dax has been power farming and also getting attacked in his own jungle. So coming to this point of time, we're seeing the big item power spikes. I'm expecting a BOD coming from Dax at any second now, but for the most part of it, they have taken off the shades, right? They're not tunnel visioning as hard. Royal Milk is doing one thing with PX7, but even Kid X, he is opening his eyes to the rest of the map to see whether Liquid Echo is going to go for that 2-pronged attack in game number 2.
And what makes this all the more dangerous for Liquid Echo is the fact that Royal Milk has his flicker. Benny has his Purify, and we're waiting about half a minute until Kid X gets his flicker as well. So Liquid Echo have to all the more respect the potential for Falcon Esports to turn this fight upside down. The Divine Judgment on the Royal Milk. Try flickering into that, Liquid Echo says, as they force an ult out of PX7. This is a tough response from Falcon Esports. Sanji coming in with a stolen implosion. Underneath, he gets punished by the turret. PX7 gets a kill. Sanford knocked out as well. Dax picks up his BOD. Now he's gonna hurt a little bit more. The conceal from Kid X. Spots Carteezy. Where you going? There's enough damage here. Looking for it. One more hit. Oh, the killing spree for Dax. Falcon Esports are online.
Liquid Echo is overheating. That was such a cool play, but between the Dominator's Descent, you basically you put him between two turrets, the tier 1 and the ult coming in from PX7. And as much as JP was absorbing a little bit of the damage, they quickly turned it around. Like, great engage from Sanji's side, but was this the correct decision to make? I don't think so. I think that Liquid Echo was just being overly confident that Benny QT could clean things up as long as they are low, but they can't even get that done.
I think this is coming off the back of that trade from Carl Teasy. The Lord for Carl Teasy trade is at the same level of that level of aggression underneath tier 1. They did not respect Falcon Esports' potential for a clapback, a massive clapback, and a cheap clapback at that. It cost him just but Benny's Purify. All the flickers are online.
Yep, I think it's by far very worth it. This allows Falcon Esports to actually have a lot of tempo on Liquid Echo. In this upcoming next fight, they're expecting that JP is going to try and make a flicker play, but they have to really consider their options, right? Who walks out first? And I think it's always got to be Royal Milk. He is the most expandable because Kid X's ultimate on that implosion is so very important here. And if he goes down too soon into that fight, then you're hoping for a lot of Royal Milk in like 1v3 and hold off while the front line gets melted away by Daxon as well as Benny.
Which is a bit of an oxymoron, a paradox, if you will, because if you want to burst down Royal Milk, you got to go all in. He has that passive. It's not like Royal Milk on the Terizla is a softie. So that gives Liquid Echo a lot to deal with. For the first time in this best of 5, they're down on kills, down on objectives, down on economy. So this Lord, I'm guessing Carl Teasy can't just willingly throw his body at it again. Not the way that the past Lord has gone, the past couple of Lords have gone.
Well, I hope Dax has learned his lesson here, right? Don't stand too close to the wall. Especially don't be inside of the pit. I think even from the previous match, the traditional Akai versus Frederick matchup, that's the one thing you have to worry about. Now, ooh, okay, Bloodwings coming in from Benny. That's going to keep him alive for this upcoming fight. Nobody has been really able to close the distance on Benny so far, as long as they are playing in a traditional front to back.
Yep, check out this delayed entry by Benny Cutie, keeping himself scarce. I don't think Falcon Esports know that he's there. Here's the dance, a slight pull. Lord here at a third of its health. Royal Milk down to half. Oh no, are we approaching the point of no return? We might even get a full-on reset here. That's it. I mean, this does favor Liquid Echo. This allows for them to reset their positioning and allows for them to do a little bit of wave management, given that Falcon Esports pushed in mid, get a chunk of that mid tier 2.
Rather interesting. It looks like Falcon Esports now kind of probing at Liquid Echo is like, come on. Come on, Royal Milk is like, he's half HP. He's walking up even further. He's taking the true damage from Lord as well.
This is what you want, right?
So just jump on in. And even then, FCon, they are smart. Dax, now with that purple buff, makes all the difference in this fight. They can deal with this and juggle it for as long as they want, and they might even get a split push in while they're at it.
Yep, their waves are a little stronger, better positioned this time around.
Whoa.
And we see here Sanford cleaning up. Kid X spot in the back line. Here comes the Lord, secured by Carl Teasy. Penalty zone by Royal Milk, unable to punish. Carl Teasy as he exits with the heavy spin, gets caught up by the implosion. A Tempest of Blades in as well. A lot of ults thrown in to punish Carl Teasy. And now, the ult from PX7 moving through. Benny Cutie, check out this angle. Coming in, jumping from the south. Ooh. Collapsing, intercepting. Benny with his Zaman Force, displaced. Liquid Echo don't want to dance here, don't want to fight here. As JP and Sanji fight him through. JP gets his immortality popped in. And he's going to go down here unless they keep going. The shutdown by Benny Cutie.
But he gets taken down in trade, right? They both go down with the Luminous Lord starting to walk on out of here. Falcon Esports, they don't want to start losing turrets for free at this point of time, but they need to start clapping back. Let Dax do his own thing. The rest of us, we got to take this tier 2. We've got some housekeeping.
That's a super expensive comeback from Liquid Echo. Sure, they scored the Lord. Sure, they got a couple kills on the way out. But they paid the price, man. Look, the map became blue because of what they just did, or because of what Falcon Esports did to respond to their short-term comeback.
I think they understand that if they let that Lord start to push out the way that it did and Falcon Esports start walking up, they're going to be able to start stealing away the economy here, right? They can start stealing jungle camps, for an example. And I think that Liquid Echo wants to minimize that damage by trading proactively against Falcon Esports to keep them on their toes. But let's look at the gold distributions here, because overall, we are seeing that both gold laners are basically getting to their full build. I think at this point, 45 to 50,000. Okay, so that means Benny has extra surplus money for item swapping. Benny doesn't have that benefit just yet.
but I don't think Benny Cutie needs it. Looking at the way he's built right now, he just needs a better entry into a fight. Earlier on, he went in where Falcon Esports were clumped up, only half of them at half health. So he's not making the most of the Sky Piercer, not making the most of the Blade of Despair, and I don't know where Liquid Echo can find that angle because they have to set it up the hard way. Carl TZ is putting the objectives on his back. Like he's throwing his life and body at these things and is willing to die. So that's one member of yours. There's no other appeal. There's no other real way to fight front to back against Falcon Esports, who can basically draw a straight line through you.
Exactly. And I think that Carl TZ is going to be the big player here who needs to kind of disrupt that positioning, right? But what's the most ideal? You're going to have Royal Milk kind of isolated by himself, maybe even Kid X, right? But at the same time, I think the most opportune moment probably will be having a fight by the pit or in lane. Once you start getting to those choke points in the jungle, as much as Carl TZ is like, maybe I can get like a 3-man like lockdown, I think that is more beneficial for Falcon Esports now that you're in tight corners.
Yeah, I'd reckon maybe fight where there's no objective. Fight when it's actually just heroes. Because the fact that Carl TZ has to think about his opponents and the major objective makes it a tougher call for Liquid Echo because they also have to perfect the art of the turn. Now Carl TZ here, sandwiched by 3, PX7, Kid X, and Benny. I wonder if he knows he might just be baiting this out. Royal Mick responds. Look at the back line. Royal Mick catches 3. JP taken down. PX7 secures the kill. In comes Dax with the delayed response. The implosion giving Benny Cutie a kill. On to Benny, and Carl TZ now down 3 for none so far. Falcon Esports are soaring.
I think they might be able to close out this game here. They got they've got 2 Ballista minions walking up to this crystal. Sanford, you gotta do something.
Oh no, that's it. Underneath the base, Salmon Force, spelt in 2-1. 2-1. The Burmese live on, forcing game 4.
Woo, boy. All right, we got a real series on our hands here, boys. Falcons finally making sure that their communication is clean. They're able to focus on what is important, and most importantly, they're not tunnel visioning.
I don't know what went wrong for Liquid Echo there. They were doing pretty well for the first half, and then suddenly they just kept going for expensive plays that, honestly, Falcon Esports punished.
They got too comfortable. That's what I'll say. They got very comfortable, and they're probably not as practiced against the Zask in particular, because there's a lot of situations where you're like, oh, if somebody's tanking it, maybe we can go even further and continue this dive. And I think that it's hard to calculate if you don't have a lot of scrims against it. But with that being said, let's throw it over to our analyst to have a deeper dive into that drafting game.
I'm diving.
That's a dive. That's pretty deep.
That's pretty. Either ways, we got a match here because now it's 2-1. Falcons win it with the Zas. Nice. First impressions. What do you think?
Zask, I'm always a fan of these mage picks that come through that aren't necessarily quote unquote meta, and maybe that is part of the equation here. Like Gideon mentioned, maybe they haven't scrimmed against the Zask pick so much, so they were kind of caught off guard from it.
This is the calculated risk that I wanted.
The calculated risk that you wanted, yeah. Okay, so nerding out a little bit here when it comes to like the semantics of the game. Valentina is countered by Zask in many ways, especially in the mid lane because it's hard to kind of because you're essentially melee if you're Valentina.
Yeah.
So you have to get up close and personal. Zask denies that. You cannot stay. You walk actually very slow. If you don't have your double dash, you're quite in trouble. Assassins generally don't like to play against Zask because you have so many ways to outplay. You can get inside your ultimate, flicker your ultimate, then dash out of there. So it's like a triple dashes if you think about it.
Yep.
And then you also survive. Assassins cannot literally like eliminate this nightmaric spawn that easily. And then come to late game, you have the Winter Crown that eventually will be a problem. Also, if you have an awkward jump, if you're an assassin that has only one jump that has to reset, which, you know, is very awkward for Roger, the continuous damage now from the Zask is a problem because before you have to attack someone, right? Now it's like a continuous, it's like a laser.
Yeah.
Right, that's a problem for anyone that it jumps in the wrong way. Like if you jump and you cannot get out of that zone, you get slowed down so much, you get constant damage, and yeah, it's terrible to play against. So I'm not saying that Zasig's the best hero because that's the way to describe it's like almost perfect, right? But it's annoying to play against when you're a Valentina and if you're an assassin-based composition.
I mean, I would say the instant slow kind of helps the entire team to actually follow up the team fight, right? But with that being said, we still got to give props to Carl Teasy, man. He didn't lose the retro battle.
He made it look so easy.
He made it look so
I
easy.
don't know.
It's like 1v4.
I got
I'd
it.
win. Nice. I'd win. I'd win.
I'd win. Nah, I'd win. And I still am quite sus about this Akai pickup game number 3, I would say. I mean, it worked game number 2, but in this particular case, it's weird to see Carl Teasy in this case, especially when you have Valentina that wants to copy the implosion, and then you have the heavy spit, so it's like anti-symmetry in most ways. I feel that there are other choices for Carl Teasy to have gone with this Akai. Nevertheless, he made it look good.
I mean, like, perhaps he just doesn't want to take the risk because, again, looking at the draft, it's more or less the same. But now we actually got to look at our Sony MVP, and it's going to be Royal Milk, starting the game off with 2 kills. I mean, again, with help coming in from the turrets, but still, a kill's a kill. Looking at here, Carl Teasy perhaps overestimated the amount of damage that he does and underestimated the body of Smith.
The body of Smith. How many times has that passive with the Trizla saved, anyone playing him? But yeah, again, it was great usage too. Sometimes he wasn't even utilizing the flicker to start things off. He was just really good being up front, battling out, zoning out the members from Liquid Echo.
Yeah. And this means that FCON, all they needed to do was to group up as 5. There was a time where around 6 minutes in, they started to really just clump up together, allowed the Link to kind of de-push if that is even needed at a certain point. Then just constantly press the situation, because now for the side of Team Liquid Echo, they needed Sanford to kind of split push, because that's the idea for the Paquito. You don't really just get in front anymore, and that meant that Royal Milk, this Terizla. My guess is that this will be snatched out, I would say.
Yeah.
So in game number 2, this was banned by FCON themselves. And then the Ling was picked up. It was Roger Valentin as the answer, which I also predicted. But now that Royal Milk has shown this, maybe it will be Roger plus Terizla afterwards.
Yeah, honestly, this has been a lot to digest, but can you actually show us through the telestrator what else have you found throughout the game?
We got Bob here again, so let's look at the play of the second turtle, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is the second turtle of the fight, and we're going to be talking about the box once again. And also, there is a lot of... We always have to start with the minimap. We all have to start with information. So if we could just zoom in. First is, there's a lot of information that is already found out by FCON. For example, they know that the Roger is up top. So that's information number 1. They know that they can turtle fight. And then eventually, Royal Milk will now see that the Paquito, so that is number 2, and then number 3, and then number 4, with now PX7 aiming to put the Nightmare Spawn into that spot. So let's play this out for a bit. Now, they spotted the Valentina as well as the Akai, so they know. Then eventually, JP will also be seen by the Nightmare Spawn. So information has been gathered. Now, it comes the interesting part, which I think is something that FCON really wanted to do in the past 2 games, which is to establish their own box. Again, their circle of influence, as we're talking about. So this is practically their box that eventually they will be able to set up. And now Sanford went inside their box. So you'll notice, right? So Sanford went in, and immediately the members of FCON are gonna be grouping up, and then PX7 outplays this. Look at this. He gets hit and then goes to his ultimate. That's beautiful. Now, Sanford is in an awkward spot where he is in the zone of Team Liquid Echo. Now, Team Liquid, they utilize Dax in this spot. You can see here that he is already aiming to go for the steal, and then all of a sudden the box has been complete. Implosion comes in. You have the damage coming out from the Terizla as well as the Akai. Then all of a sudden you can see Sanford. Sanford is not in a spot where he can help his teammates. Let's clear that out. And then and Benny Cutie is in a tight spot as well. So as you can see, Sanford is away from his teammates, right? Always look at the minimap when you're looking at the FCON versus Team Liquid Echo. And then that's basically it. The box has been set up. Sanford gets outplayed once again, and it's the end of the turtle fight for Team Liquid Echo.
Yeah, definitely looks like the positioning in the team fight is going to be very important. But with that being said, we're going to give teams time to prepare. So we're going for a short break, but after this, it's going to be game number 4. Welcome back. This is game number 4 between Team Liquid Echo going up against Falcon Esports, where the score right now is 2-1. 2 for Team Liquid Echo and 1 for Falcon Esports. Welcome back. My name is Lufel. Alongside with me is Nice as well as Wolf. Now this is a good shot for Falcon Esports. If they win again, could be a reverse sweep.
Could be. I was actually wondering if they had it in them. After seeing Game 3, I think they do. It's just, you guys already talked about this as well for Falcon Esports. The biggest thing is getting that winning draft, getting that winning game plan in approach to a team like Team Liquid Echo. And I think the last one, they did exactly that. I love that combination of the Terizla with the Tigreal, but I just don't think they're going to get their hands on that again.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's probably not going to happen here, but they can go into something with the same concept in mind, I feel like, to deal with, because again, it's all about momentum, man. You know, momentum in the beginning of the game, and they had it in the previous game.
Which they were, I would say, looking for in the first 2 games. They had the Roger Harith. I think this is the 3rd time they picked up Harith in the gold lane.
The latest.
Yep, so it's Ling Harith, it's Roger Harith. They haven't found their stride because they couldn't get out of the early stages of the game, which we thought will be the problem for FCON. We did say before the game started, before the series started, that FCON has been struggling in the early stages, while Team Liquid Echo, they're the masters of the early game, so that's what they had to solve. Apparently, it just relied on Royal Milk just being very good at the thrills, let's say. And the Zask, of course, is a big game changer. I would say that the past choices, yeah, for side of FCON, where we're very passive in a way. Ooh. It's Valentina versus Aurora, but this time it's Zask, which kind of applies a lot of pressure in the mid lane.
And now Falcon, they are going to be the 2nd pick. Team Liquid Echo is going to be the 1st pick. So this is going to be very interesting, where Falcon, I believe they can pick up the Terizla. I just don't believe that they can pick up the Ling.
Well, it was banned out,
yeah.
So they definitely cannot pick up the Ling. Chip is available. TLPH.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
It's going to TL.
You know what's the grade? Okay, so there's a chip, and then this is Harith Terizla all the way.
What about Roger Terizla?
I believe that you don't want to give the Terizla and the chip all together. That's gonna be scary.
No, I mean like Terizla and Roger.
Terizla Roger. Okay.
Oh, but it looks like they do pick up the Harith Roger.
Okay.
Oh wow, this is a predicament. Like, this is just the first 3 picks, but what do you feel?
Oof, it's a miss. That's a blunder, I believe.
They should have taken the Terizla.
Yeah, I think so. Because now you reveal too much for FCON. So TLPH are gonna be picking up the Terizla for sure. Maybe Edith along the way. No, they will not pick that up anymore.
What about the Valen?
Valentina, yeah, for sure.
Valen, Edith, Valen, Terizla. I mean,
I think Valen Terizla is the best choice here. Or Moskov Terizla, actually, for TLPH.
I don't know, unless they don't want the Terizla. I don't know. TLPH, what if they just don't pick it up? The Terizla.
I think I'll...
There's the Edith and Valentina.
Okay.
So they're willing to actually give the Terizla over to FCON.
and after this, just ban out the Moskov. Ban out Moskov, maybe even ban
if
out
you're
Matrix.
FCON,
Yeah.
For
I would
sure.
say pick up the Terizla here, because if not, it's for sure going to get banned out.
Yep, I think that's the right idea here for FCON. Knowing already that this is Edith in the Expelane, you already know your expectations. Maybe the worst case that can happen is it will be a last pick to what, Esmeralda or Thams from the side of FCON. They pick up the Aurora this time. They don't want that banned out.
Okay.
Whew. Okay.
So it looks like it looks like they're actually going to be banning out this tanky junglers. I wonder if they're going to ban out the Julian as well. Yeah.
Should be a Julian ban.
Learn from your mistake.
Hey, Yuzhong instead.
I don't know how to feel about this one. Like,
I also don't.
I'm going to be honest with you guys.
Yeah, I do understand. It's a threat. Like Sanford's Yuzhong, that is definitely a threat. Great ban on the Tigreal, despite them having the Valentina. Not gonna be picking that up. So with this, you pick up your roamer now if you're FCON. Or maybe your
Ruby?
Yeah, that's a flex still.
Yeah.
There you go. Very nicely done. So you go Julian and Moskov if you're TLPH, right?
Julian Moskov.
Yeah.
Sounds solid.
Yeah.
So if
But what's
not,
the last pick coming
Ooh.
in from FCON?
I think maybe Fredrid could work actually for TLPH in that regard. Like Moskov and Fredrin.
But you're going up against Aurora and Ruby, though.
Yeah, that's very true. But then you control both Harith as well as...
What if it's an Akai again?
Yeah,
I feel like
I hope
they should go for Julian.
I hope it's not okay. So, high pick Julian for sure. Maybe the next best thing should be that.
I got it.
Oh.
That's my 1 point.
Okay.
I got it. Thank you for having me.
You know what? this is our KPI. We need to at least call one.
Yeah.
We've all called it, so you know, our KPI is settled. And they're picking up the Minotaur. So again, Natan in the goal lane for TLPH, Harib in the goal lane for Falcon. This is again a very interesting draft. So for the casters, do you guys think this is potentially a 4-4 or Liquid Echoes got it? You know what? We're passing it over to our casters.
Once again, thank you to our analysts. It's me, Gideon, with Leo on the desk. And honestly, I'll be real with you. This is kind of a bit of a curveball coming in from TLPH. I was surprised that they actually want to go for scaling against a composition that's very much sustainable, but has an insane amount of peel.
All right, they did a two-prong attack here. They stopped all of the active CC and all of the big ticket team fight winning ults from Falcon Esports. And they also put, again, the aforementioned scaling hero into the hands of Benny Cutie, which I think sends a message. They want to make sure that, hey, even if this does go a little late, which, by the way, games 2 and 3, games 1 and 3 went very long. Again, past 18 minutes, they want to make sure that Benny Cutie becomes a decisive win.
Well, I mean, with Liquid Echo on the blue side up against Falcon Esports on the red, I think this is really scary, right? Because even for JP, he's going to imagine, he hits level 4, he's going to drop the portal, and not many people are going to take it, right? I think at this point, JP is going to play a very different role of influencing the lanes without having to call the entire team to make the big play.
Yep, I think you got it spot on. It's not all in, but which members matter at the time, and then they can do cleanup, which really there is very little cleanup. It's not like they're playing an assassin meta. This is a meta. This is a lineup that could have happened like 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that Liquid Echo, one of the few interactions that could actually be very beneficial, let Falcon Esports make that play, right? Bait out these big ults, get chunked out, but just survive. And once you survive, you start recalling. When you're back at base, that's when JP comes in with a big fight to send you straight into enemy lines.
Which is what they were lacking in game number 3, the re-engage, the potential for the post-big time CC re-engage. And here you see Dax, you see Benny, they're on relatively expensive heroes. Like I'd say more the Harith. The Roger, he wants to snowball, but if he's not able to snowball, there's really not much he can do after he gets the farm, after he gets these objectives, which, by the way, I think, again, another point goes to Liquid Echo. I think they have very good objective control.
Yeah, I do think that, man, actually, I'm going to take that back. I think that Falcon Esports probably has it a little bit better, right? And they can technically hold Liquid Echo hostage around these areas thinking, hey, are we going to fight now? Are we going to, like, drop those big ults? For the first one, I think they should back off here. There's no reason to get involved just yet, especially since First Blood hasn't been achieved. Oh,
here we go. The CC, Kaltizi gets his heavy spin and retribution on point. A freeze by PX7. Kid X in trouble, looking for the burst. JP coming in, the shortcut, who's coming through everybody. But too quickly, Falcon Esports has dispersed. Luckily, Benny Cutie can just re-exit.
Nicely done. Honestly, nicely done from both sides, right? I was really worried that Kid X might end up dying there, and I think that would have been a good gold surge for Liquid Echo. But for the most part, in that trade, Liquid Echo come up on top when it comes down to resources, battle spells as well. Majority of them are still up, and at the end of the day, they still got the turtle.
That's right. It's clean as compared to, you know, some of their engages in even game 1 and 3, right? Some of them came expensive. Here they're playing as clean as possible.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting the Echo Express this time around, you know? The Liquid Express is going to have to take a step back. There's a lot of things that need to go right for them if they want to initiate cleanly.
Yep, the Liquid Stampede only really happens when it's a clear path. You can't go through speed bumps, there can't be no distractions, so they have to set up a solid early to mid so that eventually Benny Cutie becomes that decisive force in the late game.
Well, speaking of decisive forces, PX7 has been playing a really strong game, right? Let's not forget that naturally, as he scales up later and later and later, the more magic damage that he actually builds up really works well with him, right? Because the CC will be extended even longer per stat. So I think that Falcon Esports, they have a decent later stage of the game, but it really comes down to how many people can they catch in the giant fly swatting composition during the team fight.
Yeah, which they have 3 of. Again, you mentioned PX7, that's one. Another would be Royal Milk, who seems to be a I'm offended specialist. So very fits.
He's very PC.
Yeah, he fits in 2024 on the internet. And then you have Kid X, right? Who we now know is amazing on the Tigreal, but he also now has a little bit of re-engage with the Minotaur, the Minoan Fury, and the Motivation Roar. So how about round 2 here in the Turtle? First objective was scored by Liquid Echo. Let's see if Falcon Esports now, with all of their ults online, if they can try and score this one.
It's not going to be as easy, right? I think, especially, just keep your eyes on like both Royal Milk and Kid X. They're looking for angles here. Oh.
Here we go. The shortcut coming in from a JP. Sanford walks through. Big Earth Shatter there. And then the big jump as well. Double Minoan Fury from both sides. Sanji draws first blood. We're having ground beef for lunch, folks. And now Benny, Cyclone Eye through, but the damage has been done. 3 for 9 plus the turtle. Thank you very much.
What? Let's look at the replay one more time. How did this go so badly for them, right? A majority of the members got absolutely blasted by JP's giant stun because they all corralled around him and weren't able to burst him down in time. And not to mention that even for PX7, he was completely out of that fight, but got some relevant CC, and they still lost. I think that they needed to initiate just a wee bit earlier, specifically Kid X. I think that Royal Milk could have taken his time a little bit more, especially since the battle spells weren't up in time. I think that Falcon Esports really need to, if they are going to play this war of attrition, start considering the bigger factors like battle spells and, most importantly, alt timings.
Yeah, I would assume there was a little anime moment between Sanji and Kid X where, okay, I see you ramp up with the Minoan Fury the first wave, and then Sanji just, in the nanosecond after, I also do it, which I think turned the tide of that fight. If there was no response from Sanji, if there was no Minoan Fury after the Minoan Fury, that would have been a Falcon Esports fight, definitely.
Absolutely, and that's something that they need to really consider, right? Have that foresight. This is, okay, you made the first mistake, that's totally fine. 3 kills go over to Liquid Echo. It's not the end of the world. And I think most importantly, we have to look at Benny. He's already like gone with a quick lane swap down to the bottom side of the map just to make sure that Kid X and even Royal Milk can get involved for the upcoming turtle happening in 22 seconds.
All this while, Liquid Echo asserting dominance in mid. Falcon Esports reciprocating as well, hunkering down with 3. And now the river flows. Faster rotations coming in, and who's going to ride the wave? Sanford and Kid X. Oh yeah, they're all going to try to get this last turtle here. Solid setup though in the top lane. Liquid Echo just got a passive push.
Do they really want to do this? I feel like not yet. I feel like Dax is already... Oh,
too late. The fight has started. Here we go. I'm offended by Royal Milk displacing them all. Dax in trouble. Sanji gets the kill. Pushing back Royal Milk, Kid X, and PX7. And that's all she wrote. Falcon Esports dispersed. You get nothing, good sir. Oh,
Wait.
JP. Not going to spot Benny. Not this time.
okay, not this time. He doesn't cancel it out. At least there's still some hope here. Rather interesting decision coming in from Falcon Esports, right? Like, they know for a fact. They're risking it for the biscuit, thinking that it might be a 4v4 and Benny QT ain't going to be there. But they didn't lane swap. They didn't see any rotation. They had no information. This was just pure game sense, hoping and praying that it's going to be enough. And now, because of that, Carl is significantly ahead of the curve in terms of EXP, and Dax is falling further and further behind. He's stuck on a wind talker right now.
That's why Falcon Esports had all the onus in the world to be the aggressive team. Oh, Sanji, anime-like reflexes, dodging that freeze, keeping himself alive, still denying Falcon Esports anything on the map.
Literally just told PX7, not today, kid. Not today.
Nope.
It could go even... Oh.
Here we go, JP From the other side, popping the shortcut. Who's coming through? Frigid Ice. No one home. The Zaman Force and the double Minoan Fury one more time. And there's a KO on the Kid X. Royal Milk and Benny follow through as well. Still nothing on the board for the Burmese. Benny Cutie gets a double on the way out.
And that's going to accelerate him way further ahead. Let's look at the replay one more time because this was a great angle, right? Once that shortcut comes in, the counter engage from Kid X, and they realize they don't have enough damage. Benny can only hit one target at a time, and Dax is a little too far behind to actually supplement it. Now look, Carltese getting disrespectful because he knows how strong he is, and the one shot, almost there, almost.
Oh, the time traveler coming in from odd angles, like Tenet up in this.
Oh man, it feels like they've done this before, and now they're just playing this in reverse, in real time finally. As the Lord does spawn, I think the only hope that Falcon Esports has is whether or not they can actually catch Benny QT off, and that's under a couple of conditions. One, force him to use that Purify, and somehow Royal Milk pulls him all the way back with a flicker.
Oh wow, all this while you were laying down the options, Benny QT just blitzes the Lord.
He just does it by himself.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, Gideon, you go ahead, lay down the win cons. I'm just going to take the massive objective. What is the gold lead now? Almost 10K, sir.
Exactly.
Almost 10K.
Yeah, that's why I respect Benny QT. At least he gives me the time to actually talk about it. But now that they have the Lord, hopefully they can get an inhibitor. And honestly, it's starting to look like a checkmate angle.
Yeah, Falcon Esports, good news and bad news. Good news is, underneath these turrets, they have all the more better punishing power. Maybe the double Minoan Fury situation might not be as bad. But bad news is, they're down on firepower. We're going to go back to the problem. Again, chicken and the egg. You get the CC, where's the damage? You don't get the damage in, how do you plant the CC? So now look at this, a trio lane push. Mid's got a wave, top's got a wave, Lord is down bottom, and Liquid Echo have masterfully orchestrated the push.
I think that it's really important for them that Liquid Echo take as many... Oh, Royal Milk's in trouble.
Oh, dodges the heavy spin though, so he will live, but I couldn't say the same for this tier 2 in mid.
But these inhibitors, right, that's the most important part. If Liquid Echo can at least take one of them, that's already a huge win as the second waves is starting to... Oh!
I mean, I'm saying this true for both Bennies, and now the fight continues. The Zaman Force, the Minoan Fury, they still live. The pull from Royal Milk, Benny Cutie punishes him. 3 defenders left in Falcon Esports base as a wave stands in mid. The flicker onward, Earth Shatter, the full combo. Sanford still standing. Still no one falls. Liquid Echo inside Falcon Esports' base.
They need a wave somewhere if they want to end the game, but Death Timers, Benny's going to be back in time, and same goes for Royal Milk. Falcon Esports has another opportunity to fight back, but it's looking extremely grim.
Here we go, the shortcut coming in. Kid X might get bursted down. Benny Cutie gets the kill served up to him. He says, thanks, 40, thanks. And now the base up next. Carltese plants the heavy spin. The base is going to fall. So will the Burmese. Falcon Esports takes the bow. Liquid Echo wins 3-1.
Oh my goodness, what a series here. TLPH just showing why they are above the rest, why they cream of the crop. And you can even see that even Kid X, all he can do is just applause. What a performance coming in from TLPH.
GG, well played to Falcon Esports. The Burmese, they have such a fighting spirit, but against the defending champions of MPLPH, they could not stop the Liquid Stampede.
They couldn't fly above the mountains here. They couldn't see the horizon just yet.
Not on this range.
Not on this range, unfortunately. But man, they do, as you mentioned, have incredible heart. Despite having a bad performance in game number 1, they continue to fight through it and bounce back one time, but it just wasn't enough.
I can imagine all of the Burmese watching. They would still be very proud of Falcon Esports. This does trump the performance from last year's Midseason Cup.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It is a better performance. It is a better showing as well. And yeah, there is no disappointment here from this team. They're just going to be walking off feeling good. Hey, they deserve this win.
We saw a few swerves here in this series. We went 4 games, but still the status quo remains. Liquid Echo still on top, and they will be moving forward through the brackets.
And I think for everybody else, this is just a good showing of what the meta has to offer right now and how important these best-of-5s are. You cannot lose steam at the very first game. If you are a momentum-based team, it's all about leaving that impression.
You know what I do like about the series?
What?
We got a little bit of a rewind. We saw what works from the previous meta and maybe even metas from far back. that can make a comeback, that can definitely make a difference in the developing meta we have now.
Well, with that being said, we're going to be throwing it over to an interview. Let's hear it.
Here we are with the coach of Liquid Echo, Coach Tic Tac. Congratulations. You know, you did amazing game 1 and 2, and a lot of people thought it was going to be a sweep, but game number 3, something happened. Can you explain to us, was it the Zask?
Ayun po, medyo nagulat kami doon sa Zas Peak, so medyo narattle kami doon.
So they were surprised and they were rattled with that pick, but you were able to bounce back, and that's what's really important.
Yeah, exactly. And specifically when we're talking about going from like best of 2s in the group stage to best of 5, there's definitely going to be some speed bumps, I want to say, along the way. But first of all, you made it to the knockout stage after the first best of 5, and now you are here headed to the semifinals. How do you feel after your team's performance? And I want to say continuing your journey and continuing to the second stage of the tournament here.
Ayun, sobrang saya po, nakapasok kami sa semifinals. So, yun, nabanan namin yung may manalo sa AP Brand.
He's really happy that they're able to make it to the semifinals. So they're looking out to the possible matchup with AP Brand.
And that is going to be quite an exciting match. But before we head on over to the studio, we told you guys that we have a spicy twist coming up with this knockout stage and with this best of 5, Mara. And I mean, it's, I want to say exciting for them, but it's going to be a special moment, I want to say, here on the stage.
Because you've won, now we have the opposing team. They will give you their key. And this symbolizes your success here at MSC 2024 for the Esports World Cup. They are now handing over the key. Thank you so much. Thank you. Show everybody your key. And how does it feel to be holding this right now from your opponent given to you?
Ayun, sobrang saya po, hawak po namin yung key nila. So, yun.
He's really happy that they're holding the key.
And here's the thing, not only do you get to hold the key, but I believe you also get the opportunity to destroy the key, which is, I want to say, like, this is one of the things that makes this tournament, this Esports World Cup, this MSC quite special. So tell me your feeling about that as well, getting to use the machine to destroy the key.
Ayun, sobrang nakaka-excite kasi first time mangyayaring ganun eh. Opo.
He says he's really excited because this will be the first time that they'll be able to do it. Coach Tic Tac, congratulations, and we'll see you in the semifinal round. Lots of great happenings here at the Esports World Cup, but for sure, you want us to break that down for you, so we'll go back to our panel.
Let me just say, it's just handing over a key, but I gotta say, that feels brutal. Speaking of brutal, let's look at the highlights.
It's a nice key, by the way. It's a cool concept of a key, but looking at the highlights, it's still that same idea here, guys. It's that momentum-building lineup that we saw time and time again. And it's good to hear also from Coach Tic Tac. You know, a lot of the questions about Game 3, the Zask threw them off. And maybe that's something that teams in the future that will be facing against them could use.
You guys see the Benny Cutie damage, though?
Oh, yeah.
You guys look at the damage, though.
Okay.
Damage. Big damn.
Before you threw it to the casters, I had my reservations because this is again the Harry Potter lineup, which focuses mainly on a lot of magic damage. But there's one thing that we can patent now, which is the Benny Cutie bomb on this Nathan, which he does so well. It's a skill 1 and 2 combo with obviously the entropy should be activated already. If you have 3 items and then you look for a target, be it a tanky hero or a squishy one, because of the nature of the damage of Nathan, you push back your opponent, make sure that the passive of the plates going back when you get attacked. It's like maximum ratio. It's like it takes less time to travel in a way, so that you deal the most damage in that small amount of fraction of a second. Exactly, with the pushback as well. It's the Benny Cutie bomb on the Nathan.
This is 11-0, and I gotta say, Wolf, if your lineup only has magic damage, but when you do that much damage, though, I feel like it doesn't matter.
Look at the gold per minute.
Oh my God,
1,005. Yeah, there was a time that he was double laning, and that's the benefit of having the Nathan, because you can just get from one spot to the other, utilizing your entropy. Of course, it kind of feels like it's a waste because you utilize it for farm, but that's the early game, so you don't need to get that farm as much. And then, of course, the chip makes it so that he knows where he needs to be going. The chip coming in from JP,
Yeah.
in this case, is a scout, basically.
Yeah. At this point, the chip is 100% win rate. I believe
Yeah.
it's 100% pick and ban and 100% win rate. The only one that's lost right now is Louis, but we're looking at the highlights here. And again, just to remind you guys, it's 11-0. Falcon could not capitalize on any mistakes, if any, TLPH did.
It was 11-0, and it was about 11-minute-ish games, or 11-minute game, and
Around 11 minutes.
Yeah, and there was this type of game is where the opposing team doesn't have any room to breathe at all because they're punished everywhere, and even like Wolf mentioned, your tanky heroes are being just